All right, guys, we are here. We are watching the debate with you live tonight. We will be, during the breaks, we're going to talk about, give our reactions and talk about what we're watching, but we're going to put it on there. Let's put it up here, the debate, and see what they have. First, it's the fourth GOP debate.
Ron has gained some weight.
Not willing to stand up and fight back against what the left is doing to this country. You've got to be willing to stand strong, and you've got to be willing to beat these people. I'm the only one running for president that has beaten these people on issue after issue. We beat the teachers' unions when we did school choice. We beat Fauci on COVID. We beat George Soros when we removed 2 of his radical district attorneys. We beat the Democrats on election integrity. I have delivered results. That's what we need for this country. And you have other candidates up here like Nikki Haley. She caves anytime the left comes after her, anytime the media comes after her. I did a bill in Florida to stop the gender mutilation of minors. It's child abuse, and it's wrong. She opposes that bill. She thinks it's fine and the law shouldn't get involved with it. If you're not willing to stand up for the kids, if you're not willing to stand up and say that it is wrong to mutilate these kids, then you're not going to fight for the people back home. I will fight for you, and I will win for you.
So Ambassador Haley.
Well, that's going to be the strategy.
That's
the strategy.
They tell everybody to do stuff.
5 years later, you're reportedly worth $8 million, thanks to lucrative corporate speeches and board memberships like you had with Boeing. Weeks ago, you met with Wall Street heavyweights, including leaders from J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and BlackRock. Several other billionaire investors are reportedly ready to endorse you, or recently have, all of which comes with expectations. Aren't you too tight with the banks and the billionaires to win over the GOP's working class base, which mostly wants to break the system, not elect someone beholden to it?
Well, thank you. It's great to be here. First I'll tell you, just to respond to Ron, he continues to lie about my record. I actually said his Don't Say Gay bill didn't go far enough because it only talked about gender until the 3rd grade. And I said it shouldn't be done at all, that's for parents to talk about. It shouldn't be talked about with schools.
But she just came out in
reference to donors coming on board. Look, we will take support from anybody we can take support from. But I have been a conservative fighter all my life. I was a Tea Party candidate when I became governor. We opposed every single corporate bailout we possibly could. We passed tort reform. We passed one of the toughest illegal immigration laws in the country. We passed pro-life bills. We moved in unemployment from 11% to 3%. We took on the unions, and we took on Obama when it came to the unions, the Syrian refugees, and everything in between. And so I've had a fight. And so as much as Ron says that, that's not true. But when it comes to these corporate people that want to suddenly support us, we'll take it. But I don't ask them what their policies are. They ask me what my policies are. And I tell them what it is. Sometimes they agree with me, sometimes they don't. Some don't like how tough I am on China. Some don't like the fact that I've signed pro-life bills. Some don't like the fact that I may oppose corporate bailouts. That doesn't matter. That's who I am. And that's why the most conservative grassroots group in the country, Americans for Prosperity, endorsed me last week.
Well, because he didn't respond to the criticism. It wasn't about the Parents' Rights and Education bill. It was about prohibiting sex change operations on minors. They do puberty blockers. These are irreversible. Talk to Chloe Cole. She went through this. Now she's an adult. She's warning against it. She may never be able to have kids again. That is what Nikki Haley opposed.
Yes, she did.
She said the law shouldn't get involved in that. And I just ask you, if you're somebody that's going to be the president of the United States and you can't stand up against child abuse, how are you going to be able to stand up for anything? That is the truth. We have it on video.
I said that if you have to be 18 to get a tattoo, you should have to be 18 to have anything done to change your gender.
You said the law should stay out of it.
Yep, you said the law should stay out of it.
We're gonna get to this in more detail later. Let's finish with electability, but trust me, we're coming back to this issue. Mr. Ramaswamy, for months, you campaigned as a unifier. Then you stood up at the first debate and attacked all of your competitors as bought and paid for. The second debate, you changed your tune, saying these are good people on this stage, admitting you can come across as a bit of a know-it-all and rejecting the practice of personal insults.
They said the question
By debate number 3, you called Nikki Haley corrupt, accused Ron DeSantis of wearing high heels, and told Ambassador Haley she should keep a closer eye on her daughter. Can you see how this has led some to conclude you are not, in fact, a unifier and to question your authenticity?
Megyn, I think there's a time and place for everything. We need somebody in the White House who absolutely is going to be a fighter when it counts. And I did say that there were some good people on that stage in that third debate. Doug Burgum was on that stage at that time. And I'll say that jokingly. Ron DeSantis is a good person, too. I want to go back, though, to Nikki Haley's comment from earlier that she is somehow not responding to the will of these donors. Nikki, you were bankrupt when you left the UN. After you left the UN, you became a military contractor. You actually started joining service on the board of Boeing, whose back you scratched for a very long time, and then gave foreign multinational speeches like Hillary Clinton is, and now you're a multimillionaire. That math does not add up. It adds up to the fact that you are corrupt. And when I said they were bought and paid for, I meant the Republican establishment, not the Democratic establishment. Now you have Reid Hoffman, the person who's effectively George Soros Jr., funding lawsuits across this country against Donald Trump to keep him off the ballot, funding left-wing causes. We discovered this week that he is one of Nikki Haley's largest supporters. Larry Fink, the king of the woke industrial complex, the ESG movement, the CEO of BlackRock, the most powerful company in the world, now supporting Nikki Haley. And to say that doesn't affect her is false, because it's after that meeting later that day that she says that every American needs to be doxxed by having their ID, their government-issued ID, tied to what they say on the internet. So I think that this is far more corrupt than I even imagined when I entered politics. But I will say this. It is going to take a leader from the outside with fresh legs from the next generation to unite this country. Not the broken politicians who are puppets of the puppet masters, but the actual people in this country. Thomas Jefferson was 33 when he wrote the Declaration of Independence. I think it's going to take somebody whose best days in life are still ahead to see a country whose best days are ahead of itself.
Trump.
And I think I can reach that next generation better than anybody else in this race.
Well, he is going to be president. I mean, he is going to be president.
We know Trump is old, too.
First of all, we weren't bankrupt when I left the UN. We're people of service. My husband is in the military, and I served our country as UN ambassador and governor. It may be bankrupt to him, but it certainly wasn't bankrupt to us. Secondly, I did serve on the board of Boeing. I did a lot of work with Boeing when I was governor. They were a great partner to me. I served for 10 months. And then when they decided after COVID that they wanted to go for a corporate bailout, I've never supported corporate bailout, so I respectfully stepped back and got off the board. I love Boeing. They build good commercial airplanes. They build airplanes for our Air Force. I am proud of them. They employ a lot of people in South Carolina. But that's why I left the Boeing board. There's nothing to what he's saying. And in terms of these donors that are supporting me, they're just jealous. They wish that they were supporting them. But I'm not going to sit there and do
Why are you clapping? That's not like give me a break.
And Vivek, he wrote a book talking about
sorry.
ESG, multiple ratings, and BlackRock. The idea that I want to do that in Florida, they were managing our pension, part of our pension, and then when they did the ESG, I took $2 billion away from BlackRock. We took action. This ESG, they call it Environment, Social Governance, and again, Nikki is meeting with all these people. They want to use economic power to impose a left-wing agenda on this country. They want basically to change society without having to go through the constitutional process. We've kneecapped it in the state of Florida. The next president of the United States needs to be able to go to that office on day one and end ESG. And the fact of the matter is, we know from her history, Nikki will cave to those big donors when it counts. And that is not acceptable.
He's gained weight, too.
Nikki Haley was heaping praise on me when I wrote that book, but now I'm worried. I was warning about the woke industrial complex in this country as a warning. Apparently, she read it as a how-to manual, just like she reads George Orwell's books as well. And so I think that's actually far more dangerous than
I told you
Vivek
is going to come back.
We're marching towards fascism under Biden. Jack Smith has subpoenaed every last retweet that someone has issued from Donald Trump in the year 2020. The only person more fascist than the Biden regime now is Nikki Haley, who thinks the government should identify every one of those individuals with an ID. That is not freedom. That is fascism. And she should come nowhere near the levers of power level in the White House.
I got to get to Governor Christie. I haven't forgotten about you,
No, but can I just say, these guys...
Can you speak?
I really appreciate
How
that.
you doing, sir?
Although we
Can
wish
you
we
please
did.
speak to the requirement that you said that every anonymous internet user needs to out themselves. They're both hitting you on it.
I would be happy to, and I love all the attention, fellas. Thank you for that. I'll say
I
this.
did like
What I
that.
said was that social media companies need to show us their algorithms. I also said there are millions of bots on social media right now. They're foreign, they're Chinese, they're Iranian. I will always fight for freedom of speech for Americans. We do not need freedom of speech for Russians and Iranians and Hamas. We
That's not
need
what you
social
said.
media
That's not what she
companies
said.
to go in
She
and
didn't
fight
say
back
that. I
on
know. What
all
does
of
that have to do
these
with anything?
bots that are happening. That's what I said. As a mom, do I think
As a
that
mom,
social
turn the
media
TV
would
off.
be
As a mom
more
who's with
civil
your
if
daughter
we
and
went
all
and
that.
had
You control the
people's
TV.
names
Why you
next
gotta
to
why
that?
gotta be controlled because you
I
can't
think
control
that
your
because I
kid?
think we've got too much cyberbullying. I think we've got child pornography and all of those things. But having said that, I never said government should go and require anyone's
That's
name.
false.
She said, I want your name.
That's
She's
what
the
you
President of the
said.
United States. Her first day in office, she said, one of the first things I'm going to do.
I said we
all
were going to
social
get
media
the
is, I
millions
want
of
your
did.
name.
That's
She wants
government.
government ID to
Hold on,
dox
finish
every
what you're
American.
saying.
That's
Hold
what
on.
she said. You can roll the tape. She said, I want your
Roll
name.
it.
That should
Roll
be
the
one of the
tape.
first
We
need the
things she
receipts.
did
She
in
did say
office.
it.
And then she
did
got
say it.
real serious blowback, and understandably so, because it'd be a massive expansion of government.
Actually,
We have anonymous speech. The Federalist Papers were written with
Thank you.
anonymous
They surely
writers.
were.
Jay Madison and Hamilton, they went under Publius. It's something that's important, and especially given how conservatives have been attacked and they've lost jobs and they've been canceled. You
she
know
wants
the
to go in
regime
and-
would use that to
No.
weaponize that against our own people.
Okay,
It was a
so-
bad
so I
idea.
have to say,
and she should have known.
It is a bad idea.
Like other people's free speeches.
Okay.
American
In your
rights.
house, cut the damn TV off.
Because
Cut the
Ron
phone
is so
off.
hypocritical because he actually went and tried to push a law that would stop anonymous people from talking to the press.
We got sponsors.
Register with the state if they're going to write about elected officials. It was in the check your newspaper.
right,
it was
Everest.
absolutely there.
Some
I have
legislators.
never
Deals are
said
ammunition.
government should.
Look at Ron trying to fight back. Okay, Florida.
This is more dangerous than
Tyrone said he's
the
gonna
I know that Florida in you, Ron.
Governor Christie,
Really?
just
I'm
that.
usually
right,
not
she
somebody
said
who gets
it. She did
missed,
say
but
it.
okay, let's go.
What's happening? Okay, I got you.
Chrissy is such a mom.
Listen, you endorsed Donald Trump in 2016 and 2020. You gave him an A for his first term. Since then, however, you've turned on him, calling him a liar, a loser, a con man, and someone who cannot win. You've even said that you got into this race just to stop President Trump. His approval rating with Republicans
you're
is
absolutely
currently
okay. We're free
at
speech here.
81%. Yours is at 25. Your best state is New Hampshire, and even there, 2/3 of GOP voters say they would be angry and disappointed if you won. Respectfully,
Dude, he
Governor,
couldn't fight
you
his
have not
way out of
stopped,
the
Mr.
subway.
Trump.
He's not
And
gonna
voters may wonder how you could
I mean,
possibly become the
sandwich
nominee
place.
of a party that does not appear to like you very much.
Well, look, Megan, it's often very difficult
Why is
to
he
be the
still
only
here?
person on the stage who's telling the truth, and the only person who is taking on what needs to be taken on. I look at my watch now. We're 17 minutes into this debate, and except for your little speech in the beginning, we've
I'm
had
still
these
hungry.
three acting as if the race is between the four of us.
What?
The fifth guy, who doesn't have the guts to show up and stand here,
Okay, here we go with
he's
that.
the one who, as you just put it, is way ahead in the polls.
Let's go,
And yet,
Chris.
I've got these three guys who are all seemingly to compete with, Voldemort. He who shall
can't
not be
compete with
named.
Trump, Christy,
They don't want
so
to
you
talk
don't
about
bring
it.
him there.
Yeah,
I know,
the
I
fact
get
is
it.
that when you
But
go and you say the truth about somebody who is a dictator, a bully,
Don't do it. Don't
who
do Trump
has
like that.
taken shots at everybody, whether they've given him great service or not over time, who dares to disagree with him, then I understand
Dare to get on
why
a
these
treadmill.
three are timid to say anything about it.
Oh.
Maybe it's because they have future aspirations. Maybe those
Well, then
future
what are you there
aspirations
for
are
if you
now,
don't
or
have
maybe they're 4 years
aspirations?
from now. But the fact of the matter is, the truth needs to be told.
That you're
And for us to
fat.
go 17
You're right.
minutes without discussing the guy who has all those gaudy numbers you talked about is ridiculous. I'm in this race because the truth needs to be spoken. He is unfit. This is a guy who
Oh,
just said
come
this past
on.
week
Christy, you know
that he
you
wants to
stretching.
use the Department of Justice to go after his
Come on,
enemies when
Corleone.
he gets in there.
He
And the
was
fact of the
one
matter
Trump
is, he is
fearless,
unfit to be
okay?
president, and there is
Richie.
no bigger
All I
issue in
gotta
this
say
What
race
was the
to
godfather's
Eduardo is
name?
than
Richie.
Donald
Corleone
Trump,
was
and
the
those
son.
numbers
Get
prove
the
it.
fuck out.
Governor Christie, we will be addressing that issue of Donald Trump in just a moment, but I'd like to first get to some questions on Israel. Governor DeSantis, tonight as we speak, the war is back on in Gaza. Israeli tanks are on the move and have surrounded the home of the leader of Hamas. 8 Americans have been held hostage in the tunnels beneath Gaza for 60 days now. American troops and warships in the Middle East are under attack. How far would you go as president to secure the release of those 8 American hostages? And would it include sending American forces into combat?
We have to look out for our people. When there are hostages, Commander-in-Chief, you have to do whatever you can to get them done. But the overall issue with this is this administration is trying to hobble Israel from being able to defend itself. They have a right to eliminate Hamas and win a total and complete victory so that they never have to deal with this again. Hamas wants nothing less than a second Holocaust. They would wipe off every single Jew off the map. They would destroy the state of Israel if we could. Joe Biden will say they support Israel, and then they do nothing but try to kneecap them every step of the way. You should not try to direct their war effort. We should work together with them so that they can bring Hamas to heel. Look, I served in Iraq back in the day. I'm the only one running for president that served in the military. I understand that part of the world. It's not the best part of the world. We do have troops there that Biden is leaving basically as sitting ducks. And you have the Iranians that are attacking these troops, and he's responding with basically pinpricks. If you harm an American service member, you're going to have hell to pay when I'm president. We are not going to let our troops be sitting ducks. We also need to look at what's the underlying problem here. Iran. Biden is doing nothing to bring Iran to account.
Biden won't even mention
screws on them. Don't let them have any oil revenue. The money they get, they send to Hamas, they send to Hezbollah, and they foment jihad throughout the Middle East. So Biden has empowered Iran just like he's empowered other adversaries. We stand with Israel. They're our best ally in the Middle East. We have a unique relationship with them, and you will see a strong relationship when I'm the president of the United States.
But would you send American
This is the problem with the first 3 debates. Ron gets asked a question and he doesn't answer it. Your question was very specific.
We were talking
you said, would you send American troops as commander-in-chief? And he went on to this minute and 30-second hosanna about his knowledge of the military and what we need to do, and didn't answer your question. Look, when you're president of the United States, you're not going to have a choice whether to answer that question or not.
How do you know?
Your generals, your Secretary of Defense, your Secretary of State, your National Security Advisor are going to present plans to you. They're going to look at you and say, do we go or don't we, Mr. President? And you can't give a 90-second speech about your military service, as laudable as it is.
He can't even because he didn't serve.
Absolutely. If they had a plan which showed me that we could get them out safely, you're damn right I'd send the American Army in there to get our people home and get them home now. And I'll answer that question directly.
Thank you, Governor Christie.
He said he would send American
Mr.
troops.
Ramaswamy,
Oh, here he is. Here she is.
you have said it was irresponsible for Ambassador Haley to call Hamas's
Just
terrorist
plead the
rampage
fifth,
an
V.
attack on America, and for her to, quote,
not your
rapidly
question, bruh.
shout, finish them, end quote.
Leave it alone, bruh.
The Hamas terror
Or
attack left dozens of Americans
they call you,
dead
ain't
and was the
Ryan?
deadliest attack on Jews since the Holocaust.
line.
Why wouldn't it be a good thing to finish Hamas?
Finish them was purposefully vague in a discussion that included Iran, which is what I objected to. And I think it's, as U.S. president, you have to be responsible.
We have
What happened to Israel was dead wrong. What Hamas did was medieval. It was subhuman. It was immoral. And we have to call that out for what it is on October 7th. But to say that that was an attack on America fails a basic test. I mean, Nick, if you can't tell the difference between where Israel is and the U.S. is on a map, I can have my 3-year-old son show you the difference. That is irresponsible because it has major consequences, because that doesn't leave room for what actually is an attack on America. So I believe I have the strongest pro-Israel position actually on the stage, even though it's a little bit different than the standard GOP talking points. And it is this. The founding vision of Israel, David Ben-Gurion, the George Washington figure of Israel, what did he believe? He believed that we don't want, as Israel, to depend on the fleeting sympathies of the West and have our hands tied. I think Israel has an absolute right to defend itself to the fullest, without the U.S., the UN, or the EU, or anybody else second-guessing their decisions, as the Biden administration, guess what, is now starting to do. I think that's a more deeply pro-Israel position than anybody else, and it keeps the actual lines of accountability clear because it is a pro-American position. And as leader of the United States of America, just as a father of 2 sons, my sole moral duty is to my family. as your next president,
thought it was
my
God.
sole moral
Look,
duty
what-
is
if
to
he
you,
inside,
the people
what-
of this
I mean,
country.
should
That's
be
how I'm going to lead. So I'll tell Bibi, you smoke the terrorists on your southern border, you go ahead and we're rooting for you. We're going to smoke the terrorists on our own southern border, and that's how I'm going to lead this country.
But Americans were killed in that attack. Americans were killed in that attack. And so if you looked at this terrorist attack and the number of Americans, this would be one of the top 10 terrorist attacks in American history. So our own people were killed in that attack. And I think it's absolutely appropriate to point that out and to say that we're in this together and we are going to work with Israel so that these people are brought to justice.
I agree with that.
And what does that mean,
Ambassador
Mr.
Haley, I'm coming to you. Iran is on the threshold of becoming a nuclear state. The Wall Street Journal reported that Iranian military leaders gave the green light for Hamas's attack on Israel. You said in last month's debate that, by contrast to the Biden administration's approach to Iran, you would, quote, punch them once and punch them hard. Were you saying that it's time to bomb Iran?
No, I was not saying it's time to bomb
the hell
Iran,
she
but I will
go?
tell you,
Walk
I
it
dealt
back.
with Iran every day when I was at the United Nations, and they only respond to strength.
Okay.
What they don't respond
That's
to
true.
is when you weaken the sanctions like they did on Iran that allowed China to send them billions to fill their proxies. What they don't respond to is when you give
Is a
$6
woman
billion
president.
for 5 hostages. That only makes them want more
Iran
hostages.
is not
What they
gonna
don't
respond to a
respond
woman
to
president.
is when they do
Sorry. That's a good
140
point, too.
strikes
Not
on
at
our
all.
men and
Sorry.
women in Syria and Iraq, and we do nothing but just some small shots back. You've got to punch them, you've got to punch them hard, and let them know that. That's the only way they're going to respond. So the way you do that is you go after their infrastructure in Syria and Iraq where they're hitting our soldiers. That's what you do, and then that's when they'll back off. The problem is you have to see that all of these are related. If you look at the fact Russia was losing that war with Ukraine. Putin had hit rock bottom. They had raised the draft age to 65. He was getting drones and
draft is
missiles,
65.
drones from Iran, missiles from North Korea. And so what happened? When he hit rock bottom, all of a sudden, his other friend, Iran, Hamas
Whatever.
goes and invades
I'm going back
Israel
home and
and
watch this.
butchers
Very
those
good point,
people
ladies.
on
What?
Putin's birthday.
That
There
we,
is no one happier right
that
now
no woman
than
should be
Putin because
president,
all of the
Kashmir?
attention America
What good
had
point
on
are you talking
Ukraine
about?
suddenly went to Israel. And that's what they were hoping is going to happen. We need to make sure that we have full clarity that there is a reason, again, that Taiwanese want to help
still got
Ukrainians
time.
because they know if Ukraine wins, China won't invade Taiwan. There's a reason the Ukrainians want to help Israelis because they know that if Iran wins, Russia wins. These are all connected. But what wins all of that is a strong America, not a weak America. And that's what Joe Biden's given us.
I want to say one thing about the tie to Ukraine, if I may. So foreign policy experience is not the same as foreign policy wisdom. I want everybody at home to know that I was the first person to say we need a reasonable peace deal in Ukraine. Now a lot of the neocons are quietly coming along to that position, with the exceptions of Nikki Haley and Joe Biden, who still support this, what I believe is pointless war in Ukraine.
That's true.
And I think those with foreign policy experience, one thing that Joe Biden and Nikki Haley have in common is that neither of them could even state for you 3 provinces in eastern Ukraine that they want to send our troops to actually fight for. Look at that. This is what I want people to understand. These people have, and she has no idea what the hell the names of those provinces are, but she wants to send our sons and daughters and our troops and our military equipment to go fight it. So reject this myth that they've been selling you, that somebody had a cup of coffee stint at the UN and then makes $8 million after, has real foreign policy experience. It takes an outsider to see this through. Look at the blank expression. She doesn't know the names of the provinces that she wants to actually fight for.
Let me just say something here. You know,
Look.
his reasonable peace deal in Ukraine, he made it clear. Give them all the land they've already stolen. Promise Putin you'll never put Ukraine in Russia, and then trust Putin not to have a relationship with China. Let me tell you something. That's no
That's not my
reasonable
deal.
deal. Yes, it's exactly what you said.
Ukraine
You
and
do this
Russia?
at every
You just
debate.
said
You
Ukraine
say,
and Russia.
don't interrupt me. I didn't interrupt you. Okay?
Fight.
You say
Jersey.
that- you
Fight.
listen, You do this at every debate.
Jersey
You go out and
versus
stuff, but you say something.
Jersey versus
All of us
Iran.
see it on video.
Vivek,
We
don't let her
confront you
talk
on
you
the
down.
debate stage.
Don't back
you
down.
say you didn't say it, and then you back away. And I want to
I'll
say
tell you
what.
exactly
No,
what I said, Chris.
I'm not done yet.
Well, this
now
is,
look.
this is,
and here's the
nonsense is not a spirit.
For real. Come on, Vivek. Don't pay him no mind.
debate. the fourth debate that you would be voted in the first 20 minutes as the most obnoxious blowhard in America. So shut up.
Jersey, don't play that.
I'll take that.
You said I'll take that.
Vivek, don't let him.
We're now 25 minutes into this debate.
Here we go. Keep it
Hey, what
down.
a
He
time
has
again.
insulted Nikki Haley's basic intelligence. Not her positions.
Look, he's doing the same
her
thing he did
basic
to Trump.
intelligence.
Kissing
she
her
doesn't
butt.
know regions. She wouldn't be able to find something on a map that his 3-year-old could find. Look, if you want to disagree on issues, that's fine.
Oh,
and
come
Nikki
on,
and I
Chris.
disagree
You're
on
not
some
the
issues.
moderator.
But I'll tell you this. I've known her for 12 years,
Get a
which is
room.
longer than he's even started to vote in the Republican primary.
Get a room.
Jersey
We
in the
disagree about
house.
some issues, and
Fat
we
man is a
disagree
prime
about
example
who should
of
be
what the
president of the United
GOP currently
States.
is.
What we don't disagree on is
Facts.
this is a smart, accomplished woman. You
a
should
mess,
stop
basically.
insulting
So
her.
I'm going to take this. I'm going to take several things.
Nikki, watch what he did to Trump. Watch what he did to Trump, Nikki.
We learned 3 things right there. First of all, Chris Christie also doesn't know what provinces in eastern Ukraine he actually wants us to fight for. Chris, your version of foreign policy experience was closing a bridge from New Jersey to New York.
Yeah.
So
Tell
do
it.
everybody a favor. Just walk yourself off that stage, enjoy a nice meal,
Yeah.
and get the hell out of this place. Send your sons and daughters to go die in somebody else's war.
While
You
you
better,
weren't
excuse
voting.
me, Chris, I'm speaking, and I'm not done yet. I have
When you want
to be done. So listen up to this. Is if these people want to send your sons and daughters to go die in Ukraine,
people?
they've been arguing for it for a year.
you talking about
$200 billion of our taxpayer money sent over.
Establishment GOP.
Neither of them could even
Establishment
name for you the
GOP.
provinces that they actually want to protect. And this is the people who have been touting their so-called foreign policy experience.
And it's the same
It is
policy.
intellectual fraud. These people are lying to you, the same people who told you about weapons and mass destruction in Iraq to justify that invasion didn't know the first thing about it, yet they sent thousands of our sons and daughters to go die. The same people who told you the same in Afghanistan, where the Taliban is still in charge 20 years later. $7 trillion of our national debt due to these toxic neocons. You can put lipstick on a Dick Cheney, it is still a fascist neocon.
Thank
and
you,
you got to
Mr.
see that
Ramaswamy.
today.
Thank you,
know
Mr.
it, you know it,
Ramaswamy.
yeah.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you,
Ramaswamy.
15 seconds.
Name the provinces. We don't even
He said name them.
Dude said name the province.
Let me just.
It's actually Crimea is the wrong answer.
All right. The floor is Christie's.
All right. Let me just say this.
Name
You
it.
know,
Andrew,
this
you're
is
right.
the
This
kind
is
of
Christie's
thing
last round, I think.
where he talks about experience. You know, I was the U.S. attorney in New Jersey when the terrorist attacks
Name it, sir.
were launched against the United States in 2001.
Why'd you do that?
I brought the first two cases in this country against terrorists who tried to attack us again.
Okay, thank you.
And I know about the threat of terrorism and bullying in this country
Yeah,
and
'cause
around
you
the world.
one of them.
And at
You're
that
one of the
time,
bullies.
he was learning about the provinces in Ukraine,
So what?
sitting with his smart-ass mouth at Harvard. That's what was going on.
Dirty
And
Jersey.
so,
Still
and the
can't
fact of
name
the
them,
matter is
sir.
that back then he was a Democrat.
Jersey.
So you know the
That's
fact
ghetto
is
lie,
the fact is that all he
said
knows how
ghetto
to
lie.
do.
You're busy hugging
all
Barack
he knows
Obama
how
getting
to do.
elected.
Thank you.
All he knows how to do is insult good people
Shantia.
who have committed their lives to public service and not say anything that moves the ball down the field for the United States.
All right. Thank you, Governor Christie.
Vivek needs to be DeSantis' coach. Like, seriously, he needs to be in the debate coach.
Issues on the
He
southern
named one
border.
province.
We'll be back in a few
Be
seconds.
back.
No. Vivek needs to be Ron DeSantis'
All
debate
right.
coach. Honest to God.
All right, so I want to get you guys involved.
Okay.
While we're
Oh,
on
I thought we were
commercial,
taking-
while we have commercial break, we want to give some quick reactions. So I want to start with you, Shelly. First reaction to what we've just seen.
It's on tonight.
on.
It's on tonight. I love it. I love it.
All right.
Yes.
T.
Everybody, get your drinks, get your weed, and
Oh,
keep
No,
it going.
I'm not.
We're pro cannabis. Oh, I am. So get whatever you got.
She already has some.
And let's go. Holy smokes. Yeah, smokes
Don't
all
have
right.
no more.
All right.
No, she
yes,
didn't, y'all.
Crystal.
Vivek is a thug, y'all. Like, seriously, straight up thug life. He needs to be Ron DeSantis' debate coach. Because I think Ron DeSantis says really good stuff, but he just says it like this.
Yeah. I think. I mean, he definitely. I feel like
He's based-
Yeah, I feel like Ron DeSantis did come out a little bit harder this debate than he has in previous. He's trying. Right, but I mean, it's still kind of like the JV League. I mean, we all have said that. Yeah, Trump's not there. Big elephant in the room, other than Chris Christie.
You so shady.
So, highlights so far of the night before they come back, Shelly.
Highlights is that I think they're all in one way or another. They're going to go after Nikki because right now she's in the lead amongst all four of them. And Chris Christie pretty much is the only one bringing up Trump, and he still can't beat him. He doesn't have a chance. I think this is your last go round, Chris.
Yeah, I think we should just enjoy the moment and not worry about Trump not being there. Like, just enjoy the fight, because it's going to be a fight tonight. It's going to be a fight, so let's just enjoy it. Yeah. I mean, in the very filtered form that it is.
Yeah, and I kind of don't like that. Like, so be who you are. Like, I think that when you are trying to go after a candidate, then you're only boosting her status in your mind. Like, I feel like Ron DeSantis does that. Like, I feel like, go after Nikki Haley. And I just feel like he's a grown man. Like, he needs to say, if I don't have to go after her, I'm going to stand on my, principle.
Yeah, I think it's a debate, like you said, and I think, in correction to Shelley, DeSantis is still number 2 in most of the primary states.
I'm talking about out of the four of them, Nikki is ahead.
Yeah.
No. DeSantis is still ahead in most of the polls. However, she's the one rising the most.
Right.
So she's got the momentum. So I guess they're trying to kind of knock that momentum down. Yeah. But, I mean, to me, if it was me, if I was in an argument or debate and everybody's going against my opponent, I'd sit back and watch too. I mean, honestly, I would. I mean, I think that's kind of the more calculating way to go about it.
And I have to say, we love Megyn Kelly. I watch Megyn Kelly, the EJs. Elizabeth Vargas. I think they're doing a much better job. Maybe I'm biased, but the questions they set up the questions so that again the candidates can debate amongst themselves. It's not just feeder questions. So I love this part of it, and they're going to let them battle it out, and they step in when they need to debate.
Let's talk about the questions. I mean,
it does look more controlled. Like I feel like Megyn Kelly is
I would say strategic.
You're on my stage and I'm gonna control it. But I love Vivek's answers. I wouldn't vote for him, but I definitely would like.
Don't start.
No. I'm 45. Okay. Like I'm just a Trump girl. Like I'm trying to figure. I wouldn't vote for debate, but his answers are just perfect. Yeah. I mean, seriously, he knows what he's doing.
I've always liked He's a young candidate. So it's expected for him to be able to jab and throw the punches.
I've always liked Vivek.
Definitely. I mean, to me, I'm more so, if you're talking about like a fight, I'm more so of not just jab, but you just want to also have that backing behind you. Yeah. And I just feel like as far as that's concerned, DeSantis has had the, as far as the know-it-all, know-how as far as running a state. Again, I know people say he was a JAG officer, but he was in the military.
Right, he's still in the military,
of the candidates there. So.
And I like that about him. I like that he's tried and true. And I like that he's proven. But honestly, he's got to get some fire in that belly, man. He's got. You have to scrap for the most important job in the world.
No, I'm saying for what? He has the experience to back up. Why he got to be able to talk?
Because to me,
Vivek is too slick.
Personality. That's what a large swath of the populace votes on, personality as well. That's on the PO.
I'm going to get another drink.
Good, bad, or
personality.
Yeah, we're about to start back up. So now back to the debate.
Can't hear it.
Smuggled in mostly through legal ports of entry. All year, News Nation has been at the border documenting the crisis. In 2023 alone, Border Patrol encountered a record 2.4 million migrants. All four of you have talked tough. The question now is, how realistic is the talk? So, Governor DeSantis, I'd like to start with you. You have pledged to send the military to the southern border on day one of your administration with orders to shoot, quote, stone cold dead anyone illegally entering with a backpack that you believe contains fentanyl. Critics have called this a shoot first, ask questions later policy that would amount to extrajudicial killing. You are a former military lawyer.
It's an invasion.
Why do you think this idea of yours would be
invaded.
legal?
That's
the
why.
drug cartels are invading our country, and they are killing our citizens by the tens of thousands every year. We had a situation in Florida. There was an 18-month-old baby that was crawling on the floor of an Airbnb rental. There was fentanyl residue on the carpet, and the baby died. Is this acceptable in this country? I know the elites in D.C., they don't care. They don't care that fentanyl's ravaging your community. They don't care that illegal aliens are ravaging our community and overwhelming our community. The commander-in-chief not only has a right, you have a responsibility to fight back against these people.
And does that mean shooting first?
It means you're going to categorize them as foreign terrorist organizations.
Yes, Krista, we are all in studio tonight. Well, we're in studio every night, Krista, so, but yes, you'll probably catch me. I actually have a camera set up for myself as well. So if KJ throws it over to me, I'll say hello to you, Krista. But yes, we're all in tonight.
Attached or not. And so you had to make a judgment based on intelligence, based on positive identification. But we're going to be able to get the intelligence on these cartel people. And here's the thing. If we had a wall across the southern border, which I support, this would not have happened. We need to build a wall across the southern border. I'll get it done, and I'll make Mexico is supposed to pay for it. Remember, here's how you do that. I am going to have fees on remittances from foreign workers. When they send the money back to foreign countries, we're going to tax it, and we're going to build a wall with that. So, yes, you should have had that. But we don't have it. I'm going to build it. But we have to lean in on this problem. I am not going to sit there and allow mothers to lose more kids because of fentanyl overdose. I am not going to sit there and let sex trafficking go unabated or human trafficking go unabated. There's going to be a new sheriff in town, and these drug cartels better buckle up.
Yeah, they better buckle up.
You have pledged to catch and deport all migrants who are here in this country illegally. But then you said in Londonderry, New Hampshire last month that you will not deport those who are working and paying taxes rather than feeding off the system. Which is it?
So first of all, what I said is all of the 7 or 8 million illegals that have come under Biden's watch absolutely have to go back. We have to stop the incentive of what's bringing them over here in the first place. Biden just gave temporary protective status to 500,000 Venezuelans. That's 500,000 Social Security cards. That's 500,000 driver's licenses. And I know from my time at the United Nations, the first thing they do is pick up the phone and said, we came over, come on over. And that's what sends more. You have to go and deport these people so they know it can't happen again. For those that have been here longer than that, we've got to start seeing who is it, how long have they been here, have they been vetted, have they paid taxes, have they been working, and figure out who else is out there. But what I know is my parents came here legally. They put in the time, they put in the price. They are offended by those that are coming illegally. We can't let them skip the line. But when you talk about fentanyl like you did before, let's look at something else.
What are you going to do about it?
Yes, I think we should send special operations over and take out the cartels. I think we should do a remain in Mexico policy so they never step foot in U.S. soil in the first place. But look at where fentanyl came from. Let's go to the heart of the matter. It came from China. That's why we need to end all normal trade relations with China until they stop murdering Americans with fentanyl. I promise you, they need our economy. They will immediately stop that. But this is where Trump went wrong. Trump was good on trade, but that's all he was with China. Because here he allowed fentanyl to continue to come over. He continued to allow them to he would give them technology that would build up their military and hurt us. He allowed the Chinese infiltration for them to buy up farmland, to put money in our universities, and to continue to do things that were harmful for America. We now have a spy base in Cuba and police stations, and Trump didn't do anything about it.
Thank you.
China,
Build a wall and remain in Mexico. I know I heard that somewhere, KJ. I can't think of it.
She was the #1 ranked governor.
Hold on.
Of bringing the CCP into her state. She wrote a love letter to the Chinese ambassador saying how great a friend China is. You can look at it. We put it on our website, RonDeSantis.com. There's also a video of her as governor standing in front of a Chinese flag with a Chinese business saying that she now works for them, talking about this Chinese company. So she's been very weak on China. Now, here's the problem. The rhetoric is different, but her donors, these Wall Street liberal donors, they make money in China. They are not going to let her be tough on China, and she will cave to the donors. She will not stand up for you.
15 seconds.
Sell it, Ron.
First First of all, he's mad because those Wall Street donors used to support him and now they support me. The second thing is he has a company, a Chinese company, UGAS, that he just did a rally there last year. They have given you $340,000 in campaign donations between them and their employees. They are tied to the Communist Chinese Party. Jinko Solar is another one. They went and expanded. You gave $2 million in subsidies.
I banned China from buying land in the state of Florida.
Go ahead, DeSantis, tell her.
Nikki,
tell her.
Brought Confucius Institutes to the universities in South Carolina.
That is not true.
I ejected them. So I have a record of standing up and do what's right. And here's the thing.
You have a record of lying.
She's trying to say things like that. Even the liberal media groups that usually if I say the sky is blue, they'll fact check me and say that's wrong. They looked at her charges. They said it was totally false, that they could not find one instance of me recruiting a Chinese business coming to Florida. You know why? Because we never recruited any Chinese businesses to the state of Florida.
Tell it! She just lied. She's so desperate.
Over the past year, fentanyl has killed more than 75,000 Americans, 1,000 of them right here in Alabama. You have vowed to use the military to, quote, annihilate drug labs inside Mexico, something the president of Mexico said would be a hostile act. But fentanyl can easily be made anywhere, and labs that are shut down can easily and quickly be replaced. Are your tough enforcement policies offering false hope to a country racked by addiction?
To the contrary, I don't think it's going to have to come to that if we deal with the actual demand side problem that we also have in this country. I mean, the easy part is talking about how we're going to use our military to secure the border. I will, and I believe that everybody else wants to do the same thing.
Demand side.
But the harder part is dealing with the crisis of purpose and meaning, the mental health epidemic raging across this country like wildfire. And there's a reason why after the opioid crisis, you see fentanyl. And even after we get fentanyl, and we are going to be sure to make sure we do it, this one is worse for many reasons. They're illegally lacing it into pharmaceuticals, so it's more dangerous. But we're deluding ourselves. The real false promise here is thinking that we're going to have dealt with that underlying mental health epidemic in this country by just dealing with the demand side of it. But I want to get back to this issue of the root cause, because a lot of these are coming from labs in Wuhan, China, of all places. Drug materials that are going to the Mexican drug cartels that they're pumping across that southern border like a modern opium war. I think it is going to take a U.S. president that's going to have a very different conversation with Xi Jinping than what Joe Biden just had in California. I will tell Xi Jinping, you will not only not buy land in this country or donate to universities in this country, U.S. businesses won't expand into the Chinese market until they're playing by the same set of rules. And the same country that's putting fentanyl into illegal pharmaceuticals in Mexico, it's no coincidence, is the exact same country that also unleashed hell on the world with the COVID-19 pandemic. We also have to hold them accountable with every financial lever that we have available. That is what it actually means to stand with a spine. And you mark my words, if we're willing to stand with the spine, China will absolutely have to fold because they're in a tougher spot than we are. And then we're back to playing by the same set of rules.
Thank you, Mr. Ramaswamy. Thank you. Let's
Good
talk
job.
about the economy.
Good job, young
Ambassador
Vivek.
Haley. Homeownership has always been part of the American dream, but it's increasingly out of reach for younger Americans.
Yep, sadly.
This year, mortgage rates reached 30-year highs. Home prices have risen $190,000 over the past decade. Is this the free market at work? Or should the federal government do something to make homes more affordable?
Well, first of all, I mean, you're exactly right. My daughter just got married, and I saw how hard it was for her and her husband to buy a home. Right now, the average homeowner in America is 49 years old. You've got young people everywhere. That used to be the American dream, and now it's out of reach. But you look at what happened. You first of all look at what the Fed did. The Fed did a terrible job when they allowed all of that money to go through. You saw the Treasury bond rates go up. That affected mortgage rates, that affected automobile rates, that affected insurance rates. And so now we have a high interest rate. You've got a supply issue. Ask any builder. The supply issues have continued to be there. That's caused the rate to go up. And then you've got insurances that have gone up. And so what you have is a lot of younger people who, one, can't afford a home, but two, the banks aren't lending them any money. They've made the regulations so hard that they don't want to give loans on mortgages anymore. So what we have to do is we have to open it up.
Just say, I don't know.
grow our economy so that people have more money in their pockets. We've got to look at the supply chain and make sure that we are funneling that so that builders don't have to sit there and go overseas to find things. And then we need to make sure that we really stop paying down this debt, make sure that we stop the borrowing, stop the spending. I'll veto any spending bill that doesn't take us back to pre-COVID levels, because our kids are not going to forgive us for all the spending that happened. And as much as everybody wants to talk about how Donald Trump had a good economy, $9 trillion in debt he did just in 4 years. And we're all paying the price of that, including those mortgage prices.
Where are you from?
We're going to come back to President Trump, I promise. Governor DeSantis, the latest News Nation Decision Desk poll found that inflation tops the worries of American voters. 61% say they're very concerned, and the working class is hardest hit.
Yes.
Economists say this was fueled by a glut of federal spending. The Biden administration has added $6 trillion to the national debt so far, but President Trump wasn't exactly a penny pincher. His administration added $7.8 trillion. Do Republicans, including President Trump, share the blame for inflation? And what concrete steps would President DeSantis take to help Americans make ends meet?
The borrowing, printing, and spending of money was both parties in Washington, D.C. That's just a fact. These Republicans in Washington have spent. It's driven your prices higher, and it's driven your interest rates to the point where you can't afford. I met a young fella in Iowa. He had graduated college a couple years ago, and he's like, Governor, I don't have a chance. I'm gainfully employed. He's like, I have no chance to afford a home and start a family. That is taking the American dream away from people. So we're going to get the inflation down. We're going to get the interest rates down. We are going to reduce spending, and I will be willing to veto, and I vetoed a lot as governor of Florida, and we'll do that. We're also going to open up all of our domestic energy for production. Lower your gas prices. Lower the price of fuel. That's going to help the economy. It also help jobs, and we'll do it. But you know, another thing that's burdening young people are these student loans. Now, I don't support having a truck driver having to pay a student loan for someone that got a degree in gender studies. That is wrong. We should not have taxpayers do that. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to get to the root cause of the problem. These student loans are going to be backed by the universities because they need to have an incentive to produce gainful employment for people. They should not be indulging in ideological studies. They should be focusing on things that work. And we're going to take some of this money and we're going to move it to actual vocational training. In Florida, we doubled apprenticeships. We have more truck drivers. These are in-demand skills. Don't let anybody tell you that the only way you can be successful is through a 4-year brick and ivy degree. That's one way you can be, not the only way. And we're going to fix that problem in the United States of America.
Yes, Ronnie
Absolutely.
Okay, Ronnie Pooh.
All right, come on, Ron. Keep it like that, and you might have a better chance.
Like Bitcoin as an opt-out from our, quote, broken financial architecture, and you oppose efforts to regulate it. Head of the largest international crypto exchange just pleaded guilty to allowing his platform to launder money for terrorists, including Hamas.
That's right, Krista.
You say your cryptocurrency plan will, quote, ensure economic freedom for Americans, end quote. Won't it also ensure economic freedom for fraudsters, criminals, and terrorists?
Look, fraudsters, criminals, and terrorists have been defrauding people for a long time. Our regulations need to catch up with the current moment. The fact that SBF was able to do what he did at FTX shows that whatever they have as the current framework isn't working. And I think it is nothing short of embarrassing that Gary Gensler, the current leader of the SEC, in front of Congress could not even say whether Ethereum counted as a regulated security or not. And so I think that this is just another example of the administrative state gone too far. Here's the dirty little secret in American politics today. The people who we elect to run the government are not the ones who are even actually running the government.
Yes, they don't.
It is the bureaucrats in those three-letter agencies that are writing regulations that Congress never gave them the authority to run. And the good news is a U.S. president can absolutely fix that. That takes a U.S. president with a spine. So what I've said is in my administration, by the end of year one, we will have a 75% reduction in the number of federal bureaucrats. We will shut down government agencies that should not exist.
Absolutely.
We will rescind any regulation that fails the test of West Virginia versus EPA, which is the most important Supreme Court case of our lifetime.
Yikes.
That said, if Congress didn't delegate that to an administrative agency, then it's unconstitutional.
Exactly.
These are seismic changes. These are big changes that the next president can deliver without asking Congress for permission or for forgiveness. And I want people to understand that distinction, because people have been sold myths by politicians for a long time, saying, I'm going to work with Congress to do this or that. Much of what you've heard on the stage from the other politicians fit that description. They need Congress. The things that I'm promising you, this is what the leader of the executive branch gets to do under Article 2 of the Constitution. Cut down the bureaucracy. That's how we grow our economy and put the Federal Reserve in its place. As part of the crypto discussion, 90% headcount reduction.
One of the dangers that we're going to face by now is central bank digital currency. They want to get rid of cash, crypto. They want to force you to do that. They'll take away your privacy. They will absolutely regulate your purchases. On day one as president, we take the idea of central bank digital currency and we throw it in the trash can. It'll be dead on arrival.
Y'all pick sides and can't see nothing else.
Gotta get a break. I have a whole second hour to get to. It's exciting. And when we come back, we got a big subject. Huge, you might even say.
Oh, God, I don't know.
That's subjective.
I love Megan! Megan for VP!
All right, guys. So we are reacting to the fourth and possibly final GOP debate.
News Nation tomorrow. Wrap these things
Thoughts. Shelly, starting off with you in the second round.
Second round. So far, just the debate. I think this is probably the best debate so far. I think we're getting more substance, more clarity, because they are being forced to clarify their positions to each other, not just for these pat answers that they've been given. So I like that.
Yeah, T. So it looks like Megan's saying up the next round up, we're going to hear some thoughts on Trump. Are you looking forward to that, or you think it's needed or not?
I mean, what else can they say about the man? They've said everything, and he's not even there. Like, we'll see what he got to say now, but I'm sure Chris Christie is ready.
Chris Krispy Kreme.
Chris Rice Christie.
So what about you, Crystal? What do you think so far? I know you're a big MAGA.
I'm trying to be fair, you guys, but I'm really just watching this for sheer entertainment. I feel like they're repeating a lot of the same things. I do think that they're delving deep and calling each other to the carpet, but at the same time, they've said it all before. This is a JV debate. We are waiting for the king.
Oh my God.
They said Crystal needs a booster.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sure.
That is an inside joke here. It's an inside joke.
Dude, Crystal's the baby of the group too. So.
Not really.
I think so. You're younger than all of us, right?
But I mean, not that much younger. I'm a whole
baby.
woman.
To the baby.
And you're the newest one.
So I'm MAGA.
The first one.
I had my MAGA shirt ready, and I wasn't able to wear it tonight. But don't worry, I'm gonna get it there for you guys. But I just kind of feel like they are all trying to bring Trump's policies back. They brought up build a wall. Where have heard that from? They brought up remain in Mexico.
Build a wall because he didn't finish
remain in Mexico. I wonder where I heard that. He didn't finish it, you guys, and y'all have to be fair to him. He didn't finish it because he was literally drug into court.
He didn't have the support.
He could not get the support at all.
Whose issue is that?
I think it had a lot to do with the party, seriously, because they should have
backed him. As an American citizen, yes, I am.
No, but what I'm saying is,
I mean, what do you say now that he's got more legal issues?
Exactly,
and how are we going to get a president whose primary objective is the United States?
I agree. KJ, I agree with you.
Actually, you bring up a good point, and I was hoping I hope they get to these questions on what you're saying, because actually I think, as much of a Trump supporter as I am and of a Vivek supporter, we as a party, we really need to start laying out the calculus for what happens if.
Yes.
And we haven't really addressed that a lot. We've been going on, yes, Trump is soaring in the polls, taking off the charts, but we don't really have a backup plan, and Republicans are known not to have a backup plan, but we need to get one.
Look, I don't think any of those, even including Trump, are going to make it. And
really?
I think Biden is going to be the president again.
Which I wouldn't surprise.
However, I think he's going to be. And the thing is, I don't think any of them are very good. Even Trump.
No,
like, I don't
Trump
think
is very
we don't
good.
need Trump. We missed the mark on Trump. We should have kept him in, and now he's watered down now.
Well, first of all, Trump. Okay, I'm gonna say it for all the people in the back. Trump won. Okay, he won.
We missed the mark.
But because Republicans laid down and didn't fight for it, we just took it.
And Trump told people not to vote.
He did do that in Georgia. We need to not lay down now, but we need to have a backup plan. Again, if Trump wins, if he's a nominee, I already said I'm voting for him. However, we are lax on having a backup calculus for what if this happens, then what? If this
America,
all these possibilities, and not just on the Republican side, but the possibilities on the Democrat side, because I don't think Joe Biden is going to make it through. I really think he's going to keel over.
We don't deserve.
And then guess what?
Trump. We don't deserve.
We'll have a woman president.
If I was him, I'd be on a jet.
Yo, y'all heard it first. Y'all heard it first with me. I'm on the jet right there because if we have a woman president, I'm out, nigga. Y'all.
All right,
So
moving right
for
along.
most of
Back
you,
to the debate.
On the front runner in this race, Donald Trump. We invited him to come tonight, as you know, but he declined to come.
Damn.
But we'd like to ask you a couple questions about him now.
Why?
Ambassador Haley. Former President Trump recently promised, if he's reelected, to bring back and expand his program restricting immigration from Muslim countries. Here he is in Iowa on October 16th.
No longer will we allow dangerous lunatics, haters, bigots, and maniacs to get residency in our country. We're not going to let them stay here. If you empathize with radical Islamic terrorists and extremists, you're disqualified. You're just disqualified.
His bronzer is nice.
Ambassador Haley, do you support President Trump's plan for ideological screening?
Well, I don't think that you have a straight-up Muslim ban as much as you look at the countries that have terrorist activity that want to hurt Americans. You can ban those people from those countries. That's the way we should look at it, is which countries are a threat to us. You look at what came across the southern border. What worries me the most are those that came from Iran, from Yemen, from Lebanon.
Muslim countries.
Those areas where they say death to America. That's
Muslim
where
countries.
you want to be careful. It's not about a religion. It's about a fact that certain countries are dangerous and are threats to us. A president has one job, and that's to keep Americans safe.
Me too,
and that's what we've got to
Avarice.
do, is make sure that we have good national security in that process. And that's the way you should look at it, is where the terrorist threats are, how we're going to deal with it, and what we're doing about it. And the biggest threat we have right now is communist China. But you have to also look at what Iran and Russia are doing as well. And we need to be paying attention to that. That's why we have to focus on things like cyber, on space, on artificial intelligence, and not just the regular things that we've always focused on.
It's not just terrorism, though. That's important. But look what's happened in Europe. You have more anti-Semitism in Germany than at any time since Adolf Hitler. Why? Because they imported mass numbers of people who reject their culture. Europe is committing suicide with the mass migration. And it's illegal and legal. Nikki Haley said the other day there should be no limits on legal immigration, and that corporate CEOs should set the policy on that. There needs to be limits on immigration, and we should not be importing people from cultures that are hostile. So, for example, I said with the Gaza, you had some of the squad wanted to import 300,000 people from the Gaza Strip. I said, no, we're not taking anyone from Gaza because of the anti-Semitism and because they reject American culture. So we've got to get smart about this. We cannot let the United States be like Europe.
Governor Christie. Europe
has a lot of women.
Because it relates to what they just said. There are things that the government can do right now that nobody's talking about amongst the professional politicians in this race. What about all of the illegals who are already here?
Get them out! Get them out!
There's 287G in the law. That is a provision that already allows ICE agents to deputize or allow local law enforcement
this man said
to enforce those
people
ICE
from India
warrants.
coming in here.
And it shocks me that nobody in the Republican Party is talking about it because there are 1 million then officials.
He's going to open the borders for his cousins.
Country. And against that backdrop, we absolutely have the ability to deport anybody who's in this country illegally.
Thank you,
we need to be
Mr.
talking about
Ramaswamy.
more in this country.
Thank you. Governor Christie.
Actually, did that as governor of South Carolina.
Governor Christie.
There's a lot of Indians in Howard County.
That's
That's
straight.
That's where
he
they're
would be a
going.
dictator if he wins a second term in office. Donald Trump quipped, no, quote, except for day one, promising to seal the southern border. He has also pledged to begin the largest deportation operation in American history, saying that migrants are, quote, poisoning the blood of our country. He has pledged to round up and expel an estimated 11 million undocumented immigrants in the United States.
Look at his face. Look
what do you make of that plan?
You talking to me?
I think it's completely predictable. I mean, look, he's made it very clear. There's no mystery to what he wants to do. He started off his campaign by saying, I am your retribution.
Oh, my God.
8 years ago, he said, I am your voice. This is an angry, bitter man.
I'd be angry.
Who now wants to be back as president because he wants
years.
to exact retribution on anyone
I'd be
who has
angry
disagreed
too.
with him,
Honestly, I would.
anyone who has tried to hold him to
Chris, he needs to
account
stop.
for his
He
own
needs to stop.
conduct.
And Trump
And
so
every one
big,
of these
y'all.
policies that
Yes.
he's talking about are about pursuing a plan of retribution. And yet, at the first debate, my three colleagues on this stage, when asked if he would be convicted of federal
That's that Florida
felonies,
girl humor.
would they
Okay,
still
Angie.
support him, raised their hand, looked into the camera,
And said-
and let everybody know that they would still support him,
I would.
even if convicted of federal felonies.
Oh, the
Federal felonies, by the way. Federal felonies which
Write
involve
his name down
our
if he's
election
not on the
process,
ballot.
federal felonies which involve the most sensitive of our governmental secrets, federal felonies where he instructed others to commit crimes, folks who are now agreeing to
Oh,
go
now
to
you're
jail
talking about the
because of what they
resurrection.
did in
I mean,
his
the
name.
insurrection.
So do I
That's what
think
you're talking about,
he
I think.
was kidding when he said he was a dictator?
Oh,
All you have
come
to
on,
do is
Chrissy,
look
you
at the
know darn well
history.
he didn't mean
stretching-
it
you
like
And
that.
that's
stretching
why
like that
failing
belt.
to speak out
Exactly.
against him,
Like that.
making excuses for him,
Exactly.
pretending that
That
somehow
was funny,
he's a
KJ.
victim,
You got it.
empowers him.
KJ.
You want to know why those poll numbers are where they are? Because folks like these three guys on the stage make it seem like his conduct is acceptable.
It
Let me make
is.
it clear. His conduct is unacceptable. He's unfit.
Like
and
yours
that's
was on that
what you're
damn
gonna
beach
get.
showing
Sir,
your
you
ass.
at the
If you
wrong
ever got
debate.
that Donald
Conduct was
Trump
unacceptable.
term, he's
You at the
letting
wrong
know,
debate, sir.
I am
That was
your retribution.
unacceptable.
He will
Thank you.
only be,
Beach.
Elizabeth, he will only be his own retribution. He doesn't care for the American people. It's Donald Trump first.
Oh,
Thank you,
Christy,
Governor
you
Christie.
I
Governor
mean,
DeSantis.
last debate.
You at the wrong debate, sir.
Fredo, you make me
He
sad.
has a point there. It is
Would be
Donald Trump
older on
first.
day one of his second
Fredo.
presidency
That's what I like
than
about
Joe
him.
Biden
You're
was on day one of his
disrespectful.
first. You have said Trump is not the same man he was when he ran in 2016. Your
He shouldn't
campaign
be.
is running ads showing Trump confused.
That's true.
And you have said he has, quote, lost the zip on his fastball. You seem to be saying Donald Trump is no longer
so
mentally fit
Let's
to be
see, I want to get
president.
what he
Is
says.
that what
Let's
you
see what he
think?
says.
So
He
disloyal.
is showing father time is undefeated.
Right.
The idea that we're going to put someone up there that's almost 80 and there's going to be no effects from that, we all know that that's not true. And so we have an opportunity to do a next generation of leaders
Vivek.
and really be able to move this country
Well,
forward. We also need a president that can
DeSantis
serve
isn't that
2
old. He's in
terms.
his 40s.
I don't think Donald Trump. I think he's going to have. I don't think he
She's
can
saying
be able to
That's
get
the next
elected. The
generation, that's
Democrats want him to be the nominee. We see that. They are going to turn the screws the minute if he got the
do you
nomination.
think he's
you're going to see
mentally
it.
fit to be
I think we
president?
need to have somebody younger. I think when you get up
We
to
do.
80,
Okay,
I don't think
Vivek.
it's a job for that.
No,
but let me just
him.
respond to some of
He's
the things
middle
there.
age.
Look,
I know
the
that.
media's
He's
making a
too
big
young.
deal about what he said about some of these comments.
old
I
enough
would
to
just
run. He's
remind
old enough to be
you,
president.
that is not how he governed. He didn't even fire Dr. Fauci. He didn't
Nope.
fire
You
Dr.
You can't
Ray.
fire him.
He
like
didn't
that.
clean
Yes,
up
he
his
could
law.
have.
He
Yes,
said
he
he was
could
going
have.
to train it.
Yes, he
He did
could
not
have.
train it.
Definitely
He
should
said he
have.
was going to build the wall and
Yes,
have
he could
Mexico
have.
pay
Removed
for
him
it.
from
We don't
office.
have
And
the
Comey.
wall. He did say in 2016 he'd have the largest deportation program in history. He deported less than Barack Obama did when Barack Obama was president.
He didn't
So
have the
some
support.
of these
No, they
policies
couldn't
he
even
ran
run.
on in 16, I was cheering him on then, but he didn't deliver it. Here's what I can promise
Yep.
people.
Tell the truth or
100%
shame the
of the things
devil.
I
No,
promised
sir.
as
But
governor,
guess what?
No
I
sanctimony.
delivered on
Say
those
nice try.
promises.
He's gonna
I
lose
beat the
points.
left time and
Sorry.
time again.
Nice try, sanctimonious.
We got to start winning again as a party. Yes, win the election.
Who's
but
got the-
we've
who's
gotta
got the biggest
start
balls?
hitting
See,
these
look, Ronnie's
issues.
abandoned his
I
own
will
state.
go
They
in
gonna
and
lose
wreak
points.
havoc on this bureaucracy. You will see
If you
people
still
saying
just
that
lose
we are
to
going to
Trump,
bring
then
a
he will not
reckoning
be
for how this government handles.
Sir, you haven't been president, so we're not interested in what you think
He's
you're
the only
going to do.
governor on stage.
He has not been president.
Why doesn't he just answer the question? The question was very direct. Is he fit to be president
Yes,
or isn't
he
he?
is. He really
the
is.
The rest of the speech is interesting,
said-
but
he did
completely
answer the question, though. He
non-responsive.
said, "Father
And if we were in a
time is
courtroom,
undefeated."
they'd
Wait a minute, is
strike
Christy
the
the
answer and
moderator?
say, Governor DeSantis.
No, they
you're
wouldn't.
Smart,
They would say
you're
that
a smart
they would
man.
argue that
No, they would.
No, they wouldn't,
They would
Chris.
strike the answer
No, they wouldn't.
because you're not answering
You
it. Is
just
he
don't
fit?
like
coercing or strike no answer?
No, is he
You
fit
have
or
your
isn't he?
thing.
No, I don't have my thing.
Fight,
He's
fight,
the
Ron,
thing.
fight.
Is
We
he
do
fit
not
or
want
isn't
to
he?
do
Fight,
something
Ronnie.
About him being 80 years old.
It doesn't mean
Get him,
somebody
Ronnie.
couldn't get elected. That's up to the people.
Yes, get him, Ronnie.
Is he fit or isn't he?
Get the last word, Ronnie.
Ron,
Okay.
is
I
he
think we
fit?
have an opportunity.
Yes. Fight, Ronnie. Fight, Ronnie. Yes.
Ronnie,
Go, Ronnie.
About all this stuff with
Look, go, Ronnie.
We'll do it.
I'm going to come to you.
Yes, he got the last word.
Father Time is undefeated.
Good
I
job,
don't
Ronnie.
know how he would score on a test, but I know this. We have an opportunity to nominate someone and elect someone for 2 terms who's going to be spitting nails on day 1 and for 8 years
So you
deliver
do
you
think he's
big
fit,
results.
but you
We
do
should
like how he
not
says it.
nominate somebody
He won't
who's,
answer.
who's almost 80 years old.
He's afraid to answer.
He's not afraid to
my
answer.
God.
Fool. He answered
He
it.
answered the question.
He answered the question.
Is Christy the moderator or is he on the debate stage?
Christy, you're not a moderator,
I want him
sir.
to fight.
I want to stand
Who y'all think will win?
and free dinner.
I'm a simple guy. Okay, I hear the question.
We
and
know
I
you're
answer.
simple, sir.
Is he fit or isn't he?
Answer it for
I'll
yourself.
Concede.
You
You're
guys
fit,
are
Ron.
so,
You're a new
hypocritical.
generation.
Not
You're
you.
44 years old.
One
I
day
wish
you
I
said
was
he
still
needs to
44
come out.
years old.
DeSantis needs to come out and he needs to go against.
I didn't say
I'd
because
still
DeSantis
take
was talking about
45.
Chris.
No,
I agree that
y'all think one would come out
with
and one
my
of the
3
you know,
colleagues.
No, I like that. No,
Oh, yeah,
I
I'm
like
glad. I'm talking about Chris. Christy's getting on my nerves.
Let me tell you
No, and
something.
I'll back
If you're
him up.
afraid, if you're
I'll back him up.
afraid to offend Donald Trump,
Especially against Chris.
then what are you going to do when you sit across from President Xi? You
Chris,
sit
what are you
across
going to do?
From the Ayatollah.
Well, you won't be there,
You
so
Why
sit
is he
across
asking?
from
Why
Putin.
It's the ring.
Why is he asking
He won't be there, so it
questions?
doesn't
To
matter
offend
anyway.
with
Why
the
is he
truth.
asking questions?
And
He's
answer
not
the
a
question.
moderator.
He's not a
Like,
moderator.
Listen,
I promised Ron DeSantis a minute and not a full minute.
Nikki's like,
It's
"Say,
not
stop talking about me."
And then we'll move
It's
on.
about pointing out,
Get
do
to the
you want
issue.
to elect somebody who will be older than Biden was when he went in 2021? I don't think he's as bad as Biden was at all, but I do think that over a 4-year period, it is not a job for somebody that's pushing 80. We need somebody that's younger. We need somebody that's going to be able to go in there and clean house on day 1 and
Where's
do it for
Vivek?
2 terms.
Trump should be on a jet.
With
Cue
all
him.
3 of y'all.
No, cue him Vivek with his finger.
Disloyalty.
Trump's boots for years.
He got 3 fingers.
For
too.
money and endorsements.
Come on,
Ron
tell
DeSantis,
him.
you've been a great governor, but you would have never been one without actually begging
hold
Donald Trump
on.
for that endorsement.
You attacked him in
Oh,
your
he didn't beg him.
Oh, he said
Christie
beg
as
him.
a lobbyist, begging them for COVID money for his special interests in New Jersey, prepping him for the debates last time around.
it, V.
These people are now Monday morning quarterbacking some decision he made. I think the real enemy is not Donald Trump. It's not even Joe Biden. It is
Right.
the deep state that at least
Bam!
Donald Trump attempted to take on. And if you want
Joe
somebody who's
Biden
going to
and
speak
Hunter
truth
Biden
to
are
power,
part of the deep
then
state
vote for
state.
somebody who's going to speak
so
the truth
are a whole
to
lot
you.
of Republicans.
Why am I the only person on the stage, at least, who can
are
say
never
that
Trumpers, I can
January
say.
6th now does look like it was an inside job?
It
That
was
the government
an
lied to us
inside
for
job.
20
Those my
years
people.
about Saudi Arabia's involvement in
people.
9/11. That the
Said
great
Vivek
replacement
swings,
theory
y'all.
is
You're
not
right,
some
Avery.
grand
He
white
is
the only one on
conspiracy
stage
theory,
and off. Trump
but a
hasn't even
basic
said that.
statement of the Democratic Party's platform. That the
January 6th was an
2020
inside
election
job. Trump hadn't
was
even used
indeed
his
stolen
bully
by
pulpit
big
to
tech.
come out for the
That the
big
2016
debate.
election, the one that
Avery
Trump
said he is
rarely
rocking
rarely.
was also
You're
one
right,
that was
Avery.
stolen from him by the
Vivek is
national
swinging
security
hard.
establishment
Okay,
that actually
thank
put
you.
up the
Where's
Trump-Russia
Nikki
collusion
Haley
hoax
in all
and it
of
was
this?
false. There's a reason why I'm the only
want her to be
person
a
on the
director?
stage who can
Thank
say
you.
these things. That's what it's going to
Stop
take. Now
cutting him
people who are
off,
licking his boots one
loser.
time and now Monday
Okay.
morning quarterbacking him and criticizing him when it's convenient.
Governor
Bam.
Answering the
Nobody
question.
wants to hear from Christy,
You do
Megan.
not favor a ban on trans medical treatments for minors, saying it's a parental rights issue. The surgeries done on minors involve cutting off body parts at a time when these kids cannot even legally smoke a cigarette. Kids who go from puberty blockers to cross-sex hormones are at a much greater likelihood of winding up sterile. How is it that you think a parent
they
should be able
want.
to okay these surgeries, never mind the sterilization of a child? And aren't you way too out of step on this issue to be the Republican nominee?
Ooh.
No, I'm not. Because Republicans believe in less government, not more. In less involvement with government, not more
That's
government
true.
involvement in people's lives. And you know what, Megan? I trust
but the
parents.
government is pushing it on these
And
kids.
we're out there saying that we should empower parents in education. We should empower parents to make more decisions about where their kids go to school. I agree. We should empower parents to be teaching the values that they believe in their homes without the government telling them what those values should be.
Who's looking out for the kids?
And yet we want to take other parental rights away. I'm sorry. As a father of 4, I believe there is no one
And one of them must be
who
a
loves my
trans.
children more than me. There's no one who loves my children more than my wife. There's no one who cares more about their success and health in life than we do. Not some government
stop eating the
bureaucrat,
mayo, fool.
You look at these jokers down in Congress. It takes them 3 weeks to pick a speaker, and up until 2 days ago, they couldn't promote somebody in the military in the United States Senate who earned their new rank.
No
And
adult
we're
should be
going
allowed
put
to
my
mutilate
children's
kids.
health and my decisions in their hands, for them to make those decisions, for Joe Biden to make those decisions.
Your kid can't
for me
smoke,
and for my
dummy.
wife. Let me just say this. This is not something I favor. I think it's a very, very dangerous thing to do. But that's my opinion as a parent, Megan. And I get to make the decisions about my children, not anybody else. And every parent out there who's watching tonight, you start to turn over just a little bit of this authority, the authority they're going to take from you next, you're not going to like. I'll stand up for parents each and every time.
So shut up, fool. Remove the mayo from your house. I knew you were going to jump on it, but no, he's not saying anything about the drinking age. He's not saying anything about the cigarette age. I know. So they handed in.
In 2017, you signed a law that required guidelines for
children. I
schools
agree, parents or not. I agree with that.
transgender.
But in principle, he's right.
Those guidelines
In
required
principle,
schools
he's
to
right.
accept a child's preferred gender identity, even if the minor's parents objected.
Not true.
And it said that there is no duty for schools to notify parents if their son or daughter changes their gender identity, allowing this serious issue to
simply not
remain
true.
a secret between the school and a child. How is
Megan,
any of
go
that
on.
pro-parental
By the way,
rights?
that's simply
That's
not
not
true.
You're doing what you accuse
me of, Chris.
It is absolutely
That's
true.
That
simply
is
not
true, Christy. That's
That's
been
simply
happening.
not true. That law was put into effect in 2018 and regulated in 2018 after I was
you
out of
mandated
office,
the
Megan.
guidelines.
We did not, Megan. We did not issue those guidelines, and you're wrong about that. Simply wrong. I have stood up each and every time.
So I think if this
On
is one
school
issue that's
choice-
disqualifying, it's this one.
I stood up every single time
Tell
for
them why,
parents
young
to be able
Vivek.
to make the decisions for their minor children.
But parents,
Every single time,
Parents
parents should
don't have
make
a right to
decisions.
abuse
And
their
by the way,
children now.
you know what? Every once in a while, parents are going to make decisions that we disagree with. But the minute you start to take those rights away from parents,
That's called a mistake. That's
you
not
don't
something
know
that's
that
permanent.
slippery
You will put
slope,
me in
what
jail
rights are going
if
to
I
be
give
taken
my
away
kids
next,
cigarettes.
and
You
what's
do
going to be
not
taken
Exactly.
away.
That's what I'm
as a
saying. There
parent,
are lines
you do
that
not
need-
have
right.
the right to abuse your
And
kids.
I just said that. You don't have the right to abuse.
Yes.
You don't.
He is stood up for parents. He has always stood up for
And this is
parents.
something
I just
that
said
other
you don't have the
countries in
right to
Europe,
abuse
like
your kids
Sweden,
now.
once they started doing it, they saw it did incalculable damage. They've shut it down. I signed legislation in Florida banning the mutilation of minors because it
Absolutely.
is wrong.
It
We
is wrong.
cannot allow this to happen in this country. And I know Chris disagrees with me, and I think he has an honest position. Nikki disagrees with me. She opposes the bill that we did to ban that. She said law shouldn't get involved with it.
You do,
She said
you
the law shouldn't
liar.
get involved with it. She also, though, I think, and this is flows
Nikki,
from
just
what she did
explain
as
yourself
governor
again,
of South
please.
Carolina. You know, they
No,
had a
shut
bill
up. I'm
to try to
actually
say
enjoying
that
it without
men
her.
shouldn't go into girls' bathrooms. And she killed that bill, and she bragged that she killed that bill. Even to this day, she bragged that.
Call
I
him
don't
out,
think
Ronnie.
men should be going into little girls' bathrooms. I think it's wrong, and I think we have every right to
She is
protect
so
them from
weak,
that.
and she tries to act like she's so strong.
I
She's
think
a
she's
fragile
frustrated
female.
tonight.
I think the North Star here is transgenderism
I would take Hillary
is a
over
mental
Nikki.
health disorder.
Ooh.
We don't let you smoke a
would.
cigarette by the age of
would.
18. We don't let you have an addictive drink of alcohol by the age of 21.
Right.
And I just challenge Ron DeSantis to go one step further and support what I think is clearly within the authority
Don't
to
tell
do
her
using
what to
federal
do.
funds just like Reagan did in '84 for the Highway Act that said the minimum drinking age needs to be 21. We can do the same thing when it comes to banning genital mutilation
Yes.
or chemical castration.
21.
I know
Yes.
Ron's been
Okay. Let me
unclear
say
about that on the
Ambassador
federal
Haley.
level. I'm crystal clear. That's where I stand.
I'm sure Ron can do
That's a
that.
mental health disorder. That's where
it.
we need to be at.
Go ahead.
Ronnie can definitely do that.
So first of all, Ron has continued to lie because he's losing.
No, you're
It's
lying.
just-
Lie.
You are lying.
You
So
said it
first of
on
all,
tape.
Right.
First
Let her
of all,
finish,
I will
Ron.
say that when I was governor, 10 years ago, when the bathroom situation came up, we had maybe a handful of kids that were dealing with an issue. And I said, we don't need to bring government into this, but boys go into boys' bathrooms, girls go into girls' bathrooms, and if anyone else has an issue, they use a private bathroom. Now, 10 years later, we see that this issue has exploded. And this shows how hypocritical Ron continues to be. When he was running for governor and they asked him about that, he said he didn't think bathroom bills were a good use of his time.
Whatever.
You can go look that up.
I signed a bathroom bill in Florida.
Yay! He didn't say it, he did it.
Now, you reached a little bit too far, Nikki.
The idea that you would say that I was against that.
You didn't. You killed it. I signed it. I stood up for little girls. You didn't do it. And there was this going on. I was actually just in South Carolina. Some of the legislators told me at the time there were boys going into the girls. That's the whole reason why they did it.
No.
And so they say when she does that explanation that doesn't hold water. And this is the upstate of South Carolina.
Ron.
I signed the bill. I protected the girls.
Do you know South Carolinians?
He did not do
Do you
it.
know
I know
South
that.
Carolinians? Because
Period.
you are not going to talk about my
Me too,
state like
Average.
that,
I'm down for the
because I will
challenge,
tell you
too.
for a fact, South Carolinians never allowed that to happen, and we did not have that issue at the time. What I have always said is boys go into a boys' bathroom, girls go into a girls' bathroom. But hold on one second. I also say that biological boys shouldn't be playing in girls' sports, and I will do everything I can to stop that because it's the women's issue of our time.
Angie said, Angie, we got whiskey tonight.
I actually get this stuff done.
Yeah, you actually get it done. Right, Ron.
Right.
Mr. Ramaswamy, when discussing your Hindu faith in September, you seem to take a shot at Ambassador Haley, who is also Indian American and who converted to Christianity as an adult.
Oh, he did.
You said, an easy thing for me to do, being a politician, is to shorten my name, profess to be a Christian, and then run. Make Vivek Vicky or whatever, end quote. Are you questioning Nikki Haley's Christian convictions? And why has your campaign made a point of referring to Ambassador Haley by her given first name, Nimarata, even though she's gone by Nikki for her whole life?
Well, my whole deal is that Nikki Haley, of all people, should know how to pronounce my name correctly. The rest of the news media can learn it. My deal is I'll call her Nikki when she can say my own name right. That's our little fun side bet.
Say my name,
Here's what I will say is deeper. I don't
name.
question her faith.
The
But I
Indians
question her
are
authenticity.
green.
And I think that's deeper here. We were just talking about the trans issue. This is a symptom
get back
of
to
a
the
deeper
Hindu.
cancer in American life.
Nah, that's
Identity
not.
politics. This new
background.
religion that says your race,
she was
your
talking about
gender,
him,
and your
she was saying why
sexuality
she-
are your
you know,
identity.
going back
It
to
is
him or
anti-American.
whatever. Her name,
It is
the name of it.
meritocratic.
It
It's
wasn't about his
anti-meritocratic,
faith. He
and it is
converted to
dividing this country to a breaking point. And I've spoken about this to the left. My books are all about this. I've preached this to the left, but it's even worse when Republicans try to play the same game. We're talking about that trans issue. And Nikki Haley's campaign launch video sounded like a woke Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light ad talking about how she would kick in heels.
I love this man.
She said that only a woman can get this job done.
Nikki
That's what she
is
said.
furious.
After the third debate,
She's
when I
like she's
criticized
defeated.
Ronna McDaniel
She looks
for the 5
defeated.
years of
She
leadership
does,
of this
doesn't she?
party,
She really
and
does.
criticized Nikki for
She
her
can't
corrupt
stand him.
foreign
She
dealings
looking-
as a military
can't take the
contractor.
heat, Nikki.
She said that I have
She
a
cannot
woman
stand
problem.
him.
Nikki, I don't have a woman problem.
Oh!
You have a corruption problem. And I think that that's what people need to know. Nikki is corrupt. This is a woman who will send your kids to bed so she can buy a bigger house.
That math is massive, Vivek.
Using identity politics more effectively than Kamala Harris.
He brought up
is a
the
form of
basic
intellectual
math on her.
fraud, and it actually leads to
He put out the basic math
He
side.
had a prop. He got a prop.
This is how this game is played.
needs
The
the
puppet
coach.
masters put up their
Your
puppets.
boy.
They
He got a prop.
the use of identity politics in this party.
Yo.
There's been a cancer coming from the left, and I'm sick and tired of the double standards that people in this country are too. Having
cannot-
two
you're
X
right, Krista.
chromosomes
She
does
looks
not
like
immunize
what?
you.
Thank
Dang,
you.
guess Aladdin doesn't
Thank
need
you.
a
Governor
genie.
Haley, would you like to respond?
Yes. No.
Gertie against
it's
peanut
not worth
sauce.
my time to respond to him.
You have been using politics in every state.
She can't respond.
Where's her white flag?
That's a
Where's her white flag?
You right there.
This.
Wait a
Now, by
minute.
arrangement with the Republican National Committee, we've got two questions for you about the Justice Department and our election system. Here's Tom Fitton with Judicial Watch. Governor Christie,
that gave me life.
this one's for you.
Yes, Gary, she is.
Checkmate. Okay, Kinsey,
President
14.
Trump and many of his
Who
supporters
is he?
claim
Like,
federal
come
law
on, man.
enforcement agencies
Oh, no,
have
question.
abused his civil rights for the last 8 years by, among other things, spying on him and now prosecuting him while having treated Hillary
Where is the
Clinton
lie, sir?
and Joe Biden with kid gloves.
Where's the lie,
A
sir?
recent Gallup poll shows that Americans think more highly of the U.S. Postal Service than they do the FBI or Justice Department. What would you do as president to restore the faith of the American people in these agencies?
I'm never going to be president.
Well, first off, I'm the only person on this stage who's actually done a job in the Department of Justice. I was the U.S. Attorney in New Jersey, in the 5th largest office in this country, appointed by President Bush on September 10th, 2001. And it was an extraordinary time in this country to be on the front lines of fighting the greatest attack against our country since Pearl Harbor. And I'm proud of the 7 years I spent in the Justice Department. And one of the reasons I am is because I had an Attorney General when I came in named John Ashcroft. And John Ashcroft stood up and told each and every one of us our job was to do one thing, to make sure justice was done every day, regardless of partisanship, regardless of gender or race or any other consideration. And that's what we did for 7 years. And at a time when our country was at its greatest moment of danger in the last 40 years, we did exactly that. And there was not another domestic terrorist attack on this soil. So what I would do as president, having had that experience, and the only one
who's the fat guy with the red tie,
is to pick an attorney general who will absolutely do the same thing that John Ashcroft did. To pick U.S. attorneys who will only care about making sure that justice is done without regard to any other consideration but the facts that are presented and whether someone is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt and the government can prove it.
There's a fat guy with the red tie, you guys.
Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch and Jeff Sessions and now our current Attorney General who have not met that standard. And the only way you restore people's faith in the justice system is to put someone like that in charge of the Justice Department, and then as president, to get the hell out of the way on anything that involves criminal investigations. If a president's involved in trying to do something and put their thumb on the scale, as Donald Trump says he will do, that makes people much less likely to believe our justice system can be fair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Governor DeSantis, this next one's for you. Back to Tom Fitton.
Many Republicans are concerned about the legitimacy of elections. A federal judge just ruled that Pennsylvania must count undated mail-in ballots.
Refilling, y'all.
And unlike Alabama, many states still don't require any
Can
identification
I get a refill? Can I get a refill? What happened?
Okay, y'all come back in a few minutes because this is
Uh-oh. What happened?
Mail balloting and no ballot harvesting. We even have an agency that prosecutes people for violating election laws. The result of that, in both 2020 and 2022, we counted millions and millions of votes on election night, produced the results, it was transparent, and everybody was happy. That is not happening throughout this country. But let me tell you this as the nominee. I think it's important. Not every state's where we need it to be. There is ballot harvesting in places like Nevada, all these places.
And Republicans need to start doing it.
I am not going to fight with one hand tied behind my back.
We need to start ballot
organizations
harvesting
in all the swing states. If they're harvesting, we're harvesting. If
Yes!
they're Zuckerbucks, we're Zuckerbucks. We are going to exploit whatever the rules are. I favor changing the rules to be like Florida and some of the other states that have done a good job. But until then, we have to do that. And then just on the Justice Department and FBI. I mean, I remember being in Iraq working with FBI on the ground and being, and then I was a special assistant. I used to have such a high regard for these agencies. What they did to Donald Trump with the Russia collusion was one of the biggest abuses of power in the history of our country.
Thank you, Ron DeSanctimonious. That's all we wanted to hear you say this whole time.
We're going to clear out the DOJ, the IRS, all these places. Buckle your seatbelts. There's going to be a new sheriff in town.
All right, we got to do a quick break.
Okay, you already said buckle, sir. Buckle is not working for you.
Take them
But no, I'm glad he actually said
the truth.
The truth, which is ballot harvesting. If they're ballot harvesting, you guys, we got a ballot harvest.
We haven't been doing anything.
Gone are the days that we just keep. No, we have to stop calling foul. We have to stop calling foul.
For 4 years, Crystal, the Republican National, we haven't done anything.
Exactly. And honestly, I'm tired of hearing about George Soros, y'all. Okay, hear me. I'm going to be on my soapbox. Stop talking about George Soros when we have millionaires that can buy prosecutors the same way they can. We can ballot harvest the same way they can. Like, if these people are determined to play unfair, then we need to stop being above the pettiness. We do.
I have to talk to you about this.
Okay, go ahead.
First of all, we do have an issue within the RNC with this voting.
Yep.
And the biggest reason why we have an issue is because we still have Donald Trump's pick, Ronna McDaniel, as the head of the RNC. She should have been gone. She should have been voted out. She was supported by Donald Trump. I don't understand why he supported her. The only candidate on that stage that came out against Ronna McDaniel and voted and wanted the other lady, the attorney, was Ron DeSantis. And now we have a 2024 election coming up.
But they wanted her, the other
I don't know, whatever. But now we have a 2024 election coming up, and nothing has changed. And the only person that has proven to win since 2020 has been Ron DeSantis in Florida.
Yes. What? You're saying just in
They
Florida?
didn't win in Virginia. They didn't win in Georgia. They won in Florida, and he won across the board.
Well, my favorite part of this segment is when Vivek said, I got 99 problems with a bitch ain't one. He was like, Nikki Haley, I ain't got no woman problems, but you got some corrupt problems. Bam!
He had the props.
The math is mathing.
He had the props and everything.
I gotta give him for that.
Nikki looks frustrated. I'm gonna make
She gave up just then at that point.
I think after tonight, I think after tonight, one of two things. They're going to be pouring so much money to get her to stay above or get the numbers, or she's going to get out.
Yeah, but
I know she's not getting out.
She's going to be right. She's going to go down a lot. I think after tonight.
Yeah, I think she may.
And I think it's unfair to keep saying that Donald Trump. Like, let's be honest. Like, Donald Trump was the only one that was not a politician. He didn't understand how things work. He was really trying. You gotta remember. You gotta remember. He wrote The Art of the Deal. So negotiation is always his thing. He always tries to see the good in people.
Great negotiator.
So what I'm saying is that he's trying. He's here. He has never been in politics before, and he's trying to negotiate with these people. We would have, like, even the Ronna McDaniel, like, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to go in there and
you gotta know when to fold. You gotta know when to fold.
But that's what I'm saying, you guys.
If get rid of these people.
If we had given him the 4 years that he earned, y'all would have seen a different side of him.
One issue, though, people have said across the board about Trump is he's chosen wrong people to work with him.
I don't think he chose
McDaniels, his chief of staff.
No,
he
came after the people.
He
chose the right people.
I don't think he chose the wrong people. I just think that these people are attracted or addicted to power.
That's a big part of it.
That's a big part of it.
He's the first president to ever have most of his staff go against him to leave.
But they were part of the
KJ? No, he didn't choose one. He didn't choose wrong.
They were against him. They was part of the deep state. Yeah. I'm glad that he wasn't a politician. I'm glad that he was. But most of the people, who was he going to choose from? He had Steve Bannon, who wasn't. He had, I forget the chief of staff.
Steve Bannon got out.
He really didn't know.
Kellyanne Conway that got him in office, the first female. She had some political experience, but she wasn't in politics herself.
No.
But he had a good cadre in general. Some people, I would say, some people.
But the
Republicans don't understand.
Because of the fact that he wasn't a candidate, a political candidate. That's why they went for him.
Exactly.
We're going to talk about our college campuses.
The deep state exists.
Starting with you, Ambassador Haley.
He's choosing them.
House Republicans yesterday hauled elite university presidents up to Capitol Hill to answer for the displays of anti-Semitism on college campuses. These leaders, including the president of Harvard, were asked whether calling for the genocide of the Jews would violate school policies against harassment and intimidation. All of them said it would depend on the context, including whether that speech veers into conduct. How do you think these schools and the rest of society should balance the imperative of free speech against the need to prevent radical activists from harassing and intimidating others?
It was disgusting to see what happened. You know, if this had been the KKK that was doing protests on those campuses Every one of those college presidents would have been up in arms. This is just as bad. The idea that they would go and allow that kind of pro-Hamas protest or agree with the genocide of Jews and try and say that they needed context on that, there is no context to that. This is what we need to do to deal with it. First of all, we have got to get foreign money out of our universities. You've got Arab money, you've got Chinese money, you've got others. We need to go to every university and say, you either take foreign money or you take American money, but the days of taking both are over. The second thing we need to do is Biden made a mistake not including anti-Zionism in the definition of anti-Semitism. If you don't think that Israel has a right to exist, that is anti-Semitic. We will change the definition so that every government, every school has to acknowledge the definition for what it is. The third thing is we really do need to ban TikTok once and for all. And let me tell you why.
Here we go.
For every 30 minutes that someone watches TikTok, every day, they become 17% more anti-Semitic, more pro-Hamas based on doing that. We now know that 50% of adults 18 to 25 think that Hamas is warranted in what they did with Israel. That's a problem. When campuses also don't go and protect when they have these rallies, you've got students that are scared. We need to go to these universities and say, if you're not going to protect these students, if you're not going to acknowledge anti-Semitism, we'll take your tax-exempt status away.
Get her, V.
Finish her, V. Adversarial government against.
On October 6th, the Israeli government thought it had a clear-eyed view of the threat from Hamas.
I see what you're saying.
In fact, according to the New York Times, it even had Hamas's attack plan and dismissed it as an aspiration. The Israelis were wrong. In our country, the FBI director told the Senate panel just yesterday that he sees, quote, blinking red lights everywhere, and that the threat level has, quote, gone to a whole nother level since October 7th. Which of the threats facing our country do you worry could blindside us?
What worries me and what keeps me up at night is what happens between now and Election Day while Joe Biden's in office. That's what worries me more than anything else. But I'll tell you,
her claps have gotten very
America
lower.
right now is acting like it's September 10th. We better remember what September 12th felt like, because it only takes one. And whether you're looking at open borders that are allowing people to come in, Iran knows the easiest way to get to America is through the southern border, and we're not doing anything to stop it. We've got to get the foreign infiltration out of our country, whether it's in our schools, whether it's on our social media, whether it's we need to stop all foreign lobbying that's happening to members of Congress, and we need to start securing America again. Until we do that, we are going to be at threats. We've got to look at Iran, China, and Russia want to destroy the West. We have to start acting strong again. We've got to start protecting Americans. Right now, Americans don't feel protected, and we're not doing anything to strengthen it. So Joe Biden continues to be a problem. That'll change on Election Day.
Governor DeSantis. If China invades Taiwan, would you send American troops, as President Biden has said he would do?
We will be able to deter that from happening. I think that's the important thing. We need a strategy of denial so that we're deterring Xi's ambitions.
What if it doesn't work?
It's going to work. Taiwan's an ally. We have longstanding American policy, and you know how that's done, and we will follow that. But here's the thing. Taiwan is important not just because of semiconductors. It's important because if China is able to break out of this first island chain, they're going to be able to dominate commerce in the entire Indo-Pacific. They will use that to export authoritarianism all around the world, including here in the United States. You look at some of these guys, actually some of them that are supporting Nikki on Wall Street, they grovel to China. Anytime something happens, they got to go do that. So they already exert a huge amount of authority over this country. It will get a lot worse. So deterring China's ambitions is the #1 national security task that I will do as president, and we will succeed. The 21st century needs to be an American century. We cannot let it be a Chinese century.
Make America great again.
I'm coming to you next. I'm coming to you next on Taiwan. You said if you want to stop Xi from invading Taiwan, quote, let's open a branch of the NRA in Taiwan and put an AR-15 in the hands of every family and train them how to use it. That will give Xi a taste of American exceptionalism, end quote. The National Police in Taiwan announced a zero-gun policy last year. Is this a serious policy proposal? And if it isn't, why do you keep repeating it?
Well, it's part of a broader deterrence strategy. And so I think I'm going to respectfully disagree with Ron here. I think the next U.S. president needs to be crystal clear that at least for the foreseeable future, the U.S. will absolutely defend Taiwan. And it is with that clarity that we actually achieve deterrence. But I have a broader strategy than that. We need to get on side in our relationship with India, take it to the next level. India has to be able to block the Andaman Sea, which is where China gets most of its Middle Eastern oil supplies. That's critical. I also do believe the Second Amendment is a critical way of preventing foreign autocrats from being able to. It's worked in America. Why wouldn't it work in Taiwan? So it is part of a broader strategy. But I do think that we need to be specific about our deterrent strategy, or else Xi Jinping is just encroaching by the day. And the reason why we're not doing it for China, I want to be crystal clear, is because we're scared. Why are we scared? Because we depend on them for our modern way of life. Why do we depend on them for our modern way of life? It's because Nikki Haley's latest friends like Larry Fink have created commingled economies with BlackRock telling Exxon and Chevron they can't drill here, while the shareholder PetroChina not applying those same constraints in China. So it is our economic dependence on China that makes us scared. If that were a Russian spy balloon, we'd have shot it down in an instant. If that were a Russian spy base in Cuba, we'd be actually going hard on them instead of turning the other way as we are with China. So it comes back down to that economic dependence. We cannot depend on them for our pharmaceuticals, our semiconductors, and people have been lied to for a long time. Our own military, the F-35 jets that we make in this country, depend on China, and it's going to take an outsider to fix that broken establishment.
Thank you, Mr. Ramaswamy.
We just can't depend on them, but they're not our enemies. They're not.
They are.
I mean, when it comes to China and Taiwan, the one way that we keep China from going into Taiwan is, one, make sure that we win in Ukraine, that we protect our friends, but also let China know that they'll be held to pay if they go into Taiwan. They need to know that there is going to be a force that's going to go against them. And they need to know it's not just going to be the United States. That is why we need to build our partnerships with India, with South Korea, with Japan, with the Philippines, with Australia. We need to start pulling that alliance together. And the first way we do that is we need to make sure that on day one we look at the fact, if China pulled the rug out from under us tomorrow, would we be ready? Think about what happened during COVID.
We shouldn't even be relying on China's
Everybody
rug.
told you to wear a mask. They were made in China. Everybody told you to take a COVID test. They were made in China. Everybody went and, I mean, everything that happened. If you go to the drugstore, all those medicines are made in China. We have to make sure that we are not relying on China for anything related to our national security.
Vivek just said that, ma'am.
Which means let's start focusing on doing deals with our friends now.
Thank you, Ambassador. Governor Christie, I'd like you to weigh in on that. And do you think
the exact same thing that he said?
Oh my God, they just said they're about to weigh Christie.
You know, I don't think we have constitutional authority over Taiwan to give them a Second Amendment. I think
the president needs a weight requirement.
But look, I want to be really clear. Once again, I want to play the role of actually answering your question, which is if China went after Taiwan, you're absolutely right. I would, as president, have us go militarily and defend them. Secondly, I'm not afraid, based upon those economic relationships, to do that, because these economic relationships mean nothing.
How about using the military to close our borders?
If what's going to happen is that China is going to come and act in that region of the world however they see fit. It's not right. And I'll say this about what I heard from Nikki earlier. She said that Donald Trump was good on trade. He wasn't. And the proof that he wasn't good on trade with China is that all he did was impose tariffs, which raised the prices for every American. You want to know what has contributed to inflation in this country? Yes, it's more government spending. Yes, it's the fact that we're printing too much money. Absolutely. But it is also the increase in prices that were driven by Donald Trump's tariffs. And one last thing. You can't say he was good on trade because he didn't change one Chinese policy in the process. He failed on it.
Thank you, Governor Christie. Governor DeSantis, switching subjects here. For 15 years, Republicans have been burned by politicians' promises to repeal Obamacare.
They keep forgetting that.
Trump repeatedly promised to replace it with, quote, something terrific, but failed to propose anything. You're now promising something better. But Florida has more uninsured people than almost any other state.
That's because it's
Why should Americans trust you more than any other Republicans who disappointed them on this issue?
He got rid of the
individual I think we have
man.
millions of Americans who do not have access to affordable health care. And it's not just getting some type of card and Medicaid, because a lot of times they don't even get access to doctors. Do you actually get access to care? The other thing is we have millions and millions of people who don't have access to good doctors and good hospitals. Florida did not expand Obamacare. I think the states that did that, I think, are struggling financially. So that, yes, we declined to do that, and I don't think that that was the right policy to do. But we are going to go after the cost. You're paying too much for everything. We've actually addressed this in Florida in some ways, but you need price transparency. You need to hold the pharmaceuticals accountable. You need to hold big insurance and big government accountable. And we're going to get that done. I think it's very, very important economically. I think it's very, very important for the country that we get that done.
Go ahead. Yeah, so I actually wanted to, this is a very personal issue to our family. I wanted to take actually a minute to recognize my wife who's here today. Badass surgeon. She did a bunch of cases with cancer survivors earlier today, flew here to be tonight. We'll be back at 7 a.m. in Columbus, Ohio tomorrow, taking care of those patients in the OR. And on the front lines of people who have actually not swallowed for years. No. And here's what's something that's awful that's happening in our healthcare system.
We should have.
They'll pay for anything like feeding tubes, doctors to be pill pushers. But for the procedures that can actually make these patients better, we have a broken healthcare system that doesn't pay for it. My wife, Apoorva, in many cases, does not get paid for those procedures. She does them anyway because it's the right thing to do. But that does not work system-wide. So here's the answer. We don't have a healthcare system in this country. We have a sick care system.
Yes!
We need to start having diverse insurance options in a competitive marketplace that cover actual health, preventative medicine, diet, exercise, lifestyle, and otherwise. And here's how we deliver that. End the antitrust exemptions for health insurance companies. That's where the competitive marketplace begins. That's crony capitalism, and that's the answer.
Okay, through Operation Warp Speed, the Trump administration and private industry developed a COVID vaccine in record time. The program protected the drug companies from virtually all lawsuits over vaccine injuries.
New medicine in India.
The government has a program to compensate for such harm, but critics say it is a black hole of bureaucracy. 12,000 claims filed, 10% decided, only 8 payouts so far, in a forum with no right to counsel, no hearings, no appeals. Mr. Trump says he's very proud of Warp Speed. Should he be?
Well, this question specifically on liability goes back to actually Reagan. And Reagan is a president who I admire. Many of us do. I think that reviving that spirit is in many ways going to be good for this country in so many ways. But one of the areas where he erred was this special form of lobbying to say that one kind of manufacturer, a vaccine manufacturer, cannot be sued for their product liability. So I have pledged, it is part of my legislative agenda, we will repeal that, just like we will repeal every other form of crony capitalism. People who have been harmed by those vaccines deserve accountability. They cannot be forgotten Americans. And I think one of the top lessons we learned from that COVID pandemic is that free speech in this country is most important in those alleged times of emergency. If we had been allowed to openly debate the merits of those vaccines, they would have been never mandated in the way that they were. And in general, I don't think that we should want capitalism and democracy to share the same bed anymore. It's time for a clean divorce. Let companies be companies, but I don't like the crony capitalism. This dates back a long time in both parties. And I think that we need to end the lobbying. And I personally believe that if you have been working in the government, you should not lobby that government for 10 years. If you have been a government elected official doing deals with companies, be they Boeing or be they pharmaceutical companies, you should not join the board of that company for 10 years after. The former chairman of the FDA, the leader commissioner of the FDA, ended up on the board of Pfizer. Nikki Haley did deals with Boeing, ends up on the board of Boeing. I don't care if it's a Republican or a Democrat. We need some basic principles that end the corruption in government. That's how we got the health insurance exemptions. That's how we got the pharmaceutical product liability exemptions. We end the corruption.
We need a reckoning for what this government did during COVID-19. That includes the mRNA shots. They put it out. It was experimental. People wanted it. Then the government started trying to mandate it, to say you don't have a right to put food on your table if you don't take an mRNA shot that was under emergency use. They tried to take nurses away. Now in Florida, we blocked that. We provided protections for everybody so that they wouldn't lose their job. You also have the FDA approving an mRNA shot for 6-month-old babies. There was no data to support that. They're doing it because big pharma will make money. So I'm going to go in there, CDC, NIH, FDA. We're going to clean house. There's going to be a reckoning because right now nobody's been held accountable for any of the damage. and they're going to try to do it again. When I'm president, this will never happen to our country ever again.
That is so true. The people wanted something. They wanted something. They wouldn't go back to work. So he gave them something.
But Ron stood up against everybody.
Said, not on my watch.
Wow.
Not on my watch.
With the sanctum.
It was not,
and that's what it went
it was not politically expedient, but Ron stood up. He stood up for parents when nobody would. He stood up for against these.
KJ, who you rooting for?
Ron.
Yeah, I know.
No, but real talk though.
We know.
And that's why everybody moved down to Florida. And that's why it's so expensive now.
Y'all, let me tell you something about my president. I'm sorry. I'm 45. Y'all already know. 45 for life. And he gave, yes.
Good luck with that.
Dude, like, he gave the people, they wouldn't go back to work. They were stuck in their houses. So he gave the people what they wanted, which was something.
You sound like a crack addict fiending, and they give them drugs. Is that what you want?
I feel like he did the best thing.
You believe for crack?
No, I do believe. No, so hold on. What my president says, he says he believes in the right to try. And so if there's a drug that says that they will hurt people,
try heroin?
No, I do not believe that. But what I'm saying is the people want it, and sometimes you just like, okay, like. Here.
No, actually, no. What Crystal's saying is, I get what she's saying, because I'm going to go with what you always say. Biblically, the children of Egypt, the Jews when they left Egypt, what did they cry for? They cried
to king.
They cried exactly, and God gave them a king. God was saying no. So again, I'm just using that as an example to what you're saying. However, as much as I love Trump, I still will, I will chastise him on this part. And I have said it before. I think he folded. He should have fired Fauci, and he should have, not listened to all. He should have gone with his gut instinct, because initially his gut instinct was to reopen by Easter or something like that. 2 weeks.
He wouldn't go against the state.
No. I know. Federally, he could have opened it. The states' rights would have still been the states' rights, but he didn't go with his gut, which is where he normally makes very good decisions.
But y'all, he is a first-term president. He's never been in politics. He's trying to work with these crazy people.
I'm glad that he was not a politician. I'm glad that he was not a politician.
Honestly, I wanted to see what his administration would have been in the next 4 years, and I think that we would have got a true picture.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
A true picture. But honestly, though, like, I feel like he did the best thing, and all of these JV people up there, they don't know what the hell they're gonna do when those doors close. If they get the privilege, which you won't, because you're too stupid. You're not even smart as my 45. But if they do, they don't know what is coming for them when those doors close.
No, That's why I don't trust Vivek. But he's
I agree.
Experienced.
I agree.
He has all the right sayings. He's saying all the right
when them
things.
Doors close,
but you never know what you're gonna do when you're in the.
All of them on the stage. I know we say power. All of them on the stage have some arrogance, some hubris, some confidence, whatever you want to call it. And you're right. They won't know until the things come out. Again, I'm still going to go back. This is why, again, going forward, Republicans, we need to prepare for whomever the nominee is going to be. If it's Trump or one of these four,
I will not vote for any of those four. The only one that I will vote for is Ron DeSantis. I will not vote for anyone else, and I'm just putting it out there. I'm sorry. I will not vote for Nikki Haley. I will not.
Okay, Angie Stanton. We have Okay, Angie Stanton.
Oh my gosh, we have a super chatter tonight. We have to, Krista, thank you so much.
Krista, thank you. She's so supportive.
Thank you, Krista.
She said, ladies,
but we know who you love. We know who you love.
Said, ladies, what do you all think about Trump?
Oh, we've been talking about that.
I know. Don't ask KJ.
Yeah,
don't talking about KJ. That.
Yeah, I think Trump had a stellar presidency. I've always said that. But two things that I was a little disappointed in him. Actually, three. Now, one is his Trump vax. The other is he did not build the wall. And the third is how he has come out against pro-lifers.
He did build a wall.
Like that. And actually, I think he's a little too chummy with the LGBT.
And that's interesting, KJ, you saying that about the pro-life, because I'm going to use an example that Ron just gave. When Nikki tried to say that about the bill, he said, no, but I actually signed it. So the actions means more than the words.
Right.
Trump might be coming out against, like you said, pro-lifers, but what did he actually do? He put 3, count them, 1, 2, 3 Supreme Court pro-life justices
well, again, as I mentioned, his presidency, but this was after he won.
But the action was still there. He can say what he wants.
But I don't know what he's going to do in the next 4 years.
And we're back.
Governor Christie, we're going to start with you. Which former president would you draw inspiration from for your own presidency, and why?
I would draw inspiration from Ronald Reagan. In the last year, I've spent a lot of time writing a book about President Reagan. It's going to be called What Would Reagan Do? That book's going to come out early in 2024. And what I learned more than anything else was that Ronald Reagan was a slave to the truth.
It's on you.
Ronald Reagan stood up for the truth, whether it was popular or unpopular at the moment. In 1964, he stood up against the John Birch Society when it was very unpopular to the party to do it, but he would not put up with our party standing for lies and deceit, even if it gave him political progress. That's the kind of president that I will be, and I would draw that inspiration from the 40th President of the United States, Ronald Reagan.
Ambassador Haley? Well, I have to say, too, I think George Washington, when you look at the responsibilities he had of how do you go and take on this great American experiment and make sure that the people are protected. And they always knew that government was intended to secure the rights and freedoms of the people. It was never meant to be all things to all people. And then you look at Abraham Lincoln, and you look at the challenges, and you look at the division that happened in our country, and the ability to lead in spite of the loud noises and say, what will bring out the best in people to get us to go forward is always something that's important. And I think we need that now more than ever.
Girl, shut this stupid
Governor DeSantis.
Reagan, Washington, Lincoln, excellent. One of the guys I'll take inspiration from is Calvin Coolidge. People don't talk about him a lot. He's one of the few presidents that got almost everything right. He understood the proper role of the federal government under the Constitution. We need to restore the U.S. Constitution as the centerpiece of our national life. And that requires a president who understands the original understanding of the Constitution, who has a good sense of the Bill of Rights, and who knows how we've gone off track with this massive fourth branch of government, this administrative state, which is imposing its will on us and is being weaponized against us. So Silent Cal knew the proper role of the federal government. The country was in great shape when he was president of the United States, and we can learn an awful lot from Calvin Coolidge.
Yes.
Over to you, Mr.
That was a good answer, Ron.
Sure, well, I will say Ron picked a president who was born on July 4th. I'll pick one who died on July 4th. It's Thomas Jefferson. He was 33 years old when he wrote the Declaration of Independence. And you all are sitting on a swivel chair today. He invented the swivel chair while he was at it, while writing that Declaration of Independence. That's that founding spirit that we miss, that we're the pioneers. We're the explorers, the guy who sent him out on the Lewis and Clark expeditions. And I think a lot about what would Thomas Jefferson say to today's Republican Party. And I think one thing he'd remind us of, we haven't talked about it as much tonight, but I think it is one of the interesting ideological discussions we're having in our party is freedom of speech. You get to express your mind freely no matter how heinous the opinion. Thomas Jefferson understood that. He's an inspiration for me.
Thank you, Mr. Ramaswamy. And believe it or not, it's time for Governor Christie, would you like to begin?
Sure, thank you. I want you all to kind of picture in your minds Election Day. You'll all be heading to the polls to vote. And that's something that Donald Trump will not be able to do. Because he will be convicted of felonies before then, and his right to vote will be taken away.
Shut up.
You know,
Krista, I need to
look, here's the bottom line. You can boo about it all you like and continue to deny reality. But if we deny reality as a party, we're going to have 4 more years of Joe Biden. When my colleagues here raised their hands and said they would support him even if he was a convicted felon.
Only one person.
The bigger problem with it is they were confirming the lies he's told to the American people. If you're too timid to take on Trump, believe me, others will see that timidity. Xi, Putin and the Ayatollah, the border crossers on the southern border, and the criminals in our streets. They'll sense that timidity and they'll take advantage of that failure of leadership. We need to get back to an old American idea that every person is responsible for their own conduct, even a president. I'll be the kind of president who has the humility that knows that you work for the people.
You don't have any damn
it's not
humility.
The other way around.
When you close them beaches to them people in New Jersey, and then you took your family and your fat ass on that beach. That is not humility.
You will never get anybody's vote.
I use this to just address a topic we didn't talk about tonight, but I think is one of the most important topics that needs to be discussed. That is this climate change agenda that is shackling this country like a set of handcuffs. I said it in the first debate, and I stand by it. The climate change agenda is a hoax because it has nothing to do with the climate. That's what we have to see. 98% reduction in the climate disaster-related deaths in the last century. 8 times as many people are going to die of cold temperatures this year than warm ones. Yet against that backdrop, there's an issue coming up in Iowa. It's core to Iowa farmers. I met Kim Junker, Kathy Stockdale, and other farmers who are about to have a carbon capture pipeline built across their land using eminent domain to do it. That's unconstitutional and it's wrong. And if you thought COVID was bad, what's coming with this climate agenda is far worse. We should not be bending the knee to this new religion. That is what it is. It is a substitute for a modern religion. We are flogging ourselves and losing our modern way of life, bowing to this new god of climate, and that will end on my watch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think it's unconstitutional. Eminent domain is the law.
Our
No, it's
country
not.
is in chaos.
It is unconstitutional. You don't pay people for their property. Use their property.
We see it on our streets in our cities. We see it on college campuses. We feel it with our economy, with inflation and with debt. And we feel it around the world with wars in Europe and within the Middle East.
It is not. It's a
We have to stop the chaos, but you can't defeat Democrat chaos with Republican chaos. And that's what Donald Trump gives us.
Girl, bye.
My approach
He gave
is
you a
different.
job. That's what he gave you,
No
sis.
drama, no vendettas, no whining. I envision an America where we're protected from illegal immigration and Chinese infiltration. I envision an America where we unleash our economy and we reject socialism. But more importantly, I envision an America where we rediscover our national purpose and our pride.
Thank you.
I crushed Joe Biden in the polls.
She said thank you.
Give me this chance. We will crush him in November.
She
and
said
take
thank
our
you.
country back. Go to Nikki
Thank you, Ambassador Haley.
She's bowing out. That's her last time.
We are in jeopardy of being the first generation of Americans to leave to our kids and grandkids an America less prosperous and less free than the one we inherited. I refuse to sit idly by and let that happen. But we got to have people that are going to be willing to fight the people that are doing this to us. You can't be these establishment Republicans that just cave at the first sign of opposition. I'll fight for you. We also need to win again as a party. Yes, win the election, which we've struggled to do, but also win on these big issues. And nobody has defeated these people more than what I have done in the state of Florida on issue after issue. We have won, and we have won big, and that's what we'll do for you. We also need leadership. Leadership is not about doing what's easy. It's about being willing to set out that vision, knowing they're going to shoot arrows at you. They're going to come at you. I will fight the good fight. I will keep the faith, and I will finish the race. Thank you, and God bless you.
Sir.
I will keep the faith.
Let's go, Ronnie.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Who said that?
BDR.
He's such a lame, but I love him.
BDR.
I really think I think he'll do a good job, but gosh, she's got to figure out a way to be cool.
And just like that, the state of the race has changed.
He has got to. You know that movie Get Hard? You know that movie Get Hard? That's what Ron need to do. Like he need to hire Kevin Hart and he need to figure out how to get hard.
Get hard.
Yeah, you're right. Lame.
Yeah, they call him BD. They don't call him BDR for nothing.
What's BDR?
And BDR, Big Dick Ron.
Oh my God.
Call him Big Dick Ron.
I
don't know about that.
That's his name. Big Dick Ron.
I don't know about that, baby.
I haven't seen this print.
Maybe
I haven't
big
seen
heels,
it.
high heel Ron or something.
I know.
High
He's a little
heels,
lame.
big dicks.
That don't go together.
Pocket protector
They don't
Ron.
go together.
Pocket protector
That
Ron.
does not go together.
I was in the JAG Force. I'm the only one that was in the Navy.
Yeah, but he was in there though.
But I was there.
All right, we have to close this out. I want to get final. Firstly, I want to acknowledge the super chatter.
Thank
Hazel
you.
Eyes. Yes, thank you so much for that. We certainly appreciate it. And thank you all for watching. We're going to do a quick analysis of exactly what we went down tonight. Starting off with you, Shelley. Who won? Who do you think won tonight? I know Trump was not there.
I know.
Right?
I wasn't going to say Trump.
Okay.
I should have brought my honey for Christy for the Trump comments.
Yes.
But I would say, I'm going to say a tie between Vivek and Ron DeSantis. I would say that. Okay. Yeah. Vivek, he came out the ballpark. Ron was actually a little bit more, animated. He was a little more energetic. So, and he stood up to Nikki Haley. Nikki looks like she is
Bless her, Jesus.
fit to be tied.
She's probably on her period.
Oh my God.
That's what happens when you have women in leadership.
You don't need to drink.
All right. T, who?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go with home team, Florida. Ron did it. Ronnie came through. Y'all kept talking about how he's so boring and he doesn't do this and he does that. But he did it this day. He did it on this day. And he came for Chris Christie, too. Like, I was rooting for him when he was going neck and neck with Chris Christie. And then he was like, oh, you gonna shut the fuck up, Chris Christie. And this is what I have to say, because I'm from Florida, and this is how we do it down here.
You were like, he got the last word.
He got the last word.
Yeah, that's T is our Tallahassee Lassie.
Period.
All right, okay. Crystal.
I'm 45 for life, you guys. I'm sorry. I wish I could give an honest analysis of the JV debate, but if I had to score the winner, obviously it would be 45, Trump. But I think...
How can you score him the winner? He wasn't even there.
Exactly. Why would you subject yourself to these people? Like, seriously, they literally are stealing his tactics.
But he's still been winning.
They're stealing his tactics, so he's still winning. Anyway, honestly, I think he should drop out and just let these fools run America because they're just idiots.
They're not going to win.
Every week you got to.
But what I would say... No, seriously, I say that all the time. I have remained consistent that Trump... that America doesn't deserve Trump.
Well,
I've been consistent.
That, yeah.
I've been consistent that we don't deserve 45. But what I will say is Vivek brings the heat. And honestly, if I can get a combination, like if I can take the curry mixed with the chicken nuggets, the Florida chicken nuggets.
What's in Florida?
And mix it all together. Because, American is chicken nuggets or something. If I can mix the curry chicken nuggets.
Orange.
Key lime pie.
Yes. So if I can mix Vivek with Ron DeSanctimonious and I can mix them together, then I think we had something. We be working with something.
Yeah. I think I thought this was we do have another super chat.
Yes,
thank you. Rico, thank you so much. Rico says, I hope you guys replace the stupid View show.
Yeah, we ain't even talking about them today,
We ain't talking about them non-MF factors, but you like my boo.
Well, you guess what, Rico? Watch them tomorrow, everybody, because they're probably gonna be fit to be tied tomorrow.
Right? Yeah, they certainly are.
Yeah. Remember that song?
Did we see Hazel Eyes?
Yes. Okay. Yes. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I actually thought this was the best debate out of all four.
You thought so?
I did.
Yes,
I thought it was the best debate.
Absolutely.
I thought it was much more substantive. I thought that the questions were very good. They were 4 Republicans, 4 conservatives. And I like the part where they asked them about Trump, because we do have to ask about him.
Right.
So I thought that was good. I don't know. I thought DeSantis won tonight. I think if out of anyone, I think he's probably going to see a rise.
You just love him.
I think Vivek is going to rise. I think Nikki's going to go down.
Yeah, Nikki's going to go down.
I think Vivek is going to rise. I think DeSantis might rise.
On her husband?
I don't think he's going to be hurt, DeSantis. I don't think he's going to be hurt.
Her husband is going to rise?
No.
She is annoying.
She's going to go down on her husband. That's all she got to do. She ain't got nothing else to do. Past tonight, she ain't got nothing else to do but to go down.
No, I think that they're going to tell us who won. So we're going to wait for Fox News and MSNBC to tell us who they think did a good job. And then we'll just adopt that like they did the last time.
Well, we didn't adopt that with Vivek because we said Vivek won, but they said it didn't. So you and I were saying no, Vivek won that one.
Yeah, but they pushed Vivek down and they pushed Nikki and Haley up into the polls. And they do that.
I thought you guys... I thought you said you thought Nikki won.
No, you were the only one that said that
we were saying that we
you were the only one.
I thought I don't agree with Nikki Haley, but I thought as far as just the debate, I thought she won the last debate. But and she came up in the polls. I mean, she certainly did rise in the polls.
I don't know how. What are y'all looking for? Like seriously, she's weak.
The establishment.
She is so weak.
Look,
she is so annoying.
Kenzie 14. Belt one held up
all night. Yes.
I know that's so true. His belt won.
Yeah.
But no, like
who's bringing up Tim
y'all.
Scott?
No, seriously, what are y'all looking for in Nikki? Like I see women.
Y'all?
No, I'm serious. I see y'all don't like Hillary, right? But when you see Hillary, you see a powerful woman. Like
no, you don't.
Come on, you don't see Pocahontas up there. Like you see somebody that could at least talk a good game.
No, I see pants.
Hillary?
I see women in pants all the time.
I know, but what I'm saying
I see her as a lesbian trying to get fucked by a woman.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
All right.
I see her
Sorry,
as
audience.
has been. Her, she's way over her peak.
I'm not having this conversation with these people.
No,
I'm sorry,
I see. What's her name? Hillary. She looks desperate.
Yeah.
She looks defeated.
Yeah, she does. Not only defeated, but
her husband.
Her
husband's depleted.
Yeah.
Her husband defeated her already.
Monica Lewinsky.
Can
we say that name?
Yeah.
But no, Nikki Haley, God bless you, sweetie. Like this is her time to just start to enjoy her children, her grandchildren.
Right, like Trump. Enjoy.
No, KJ didn't apologize.
But she can't be on a jet like 45.
I apologize for.
She'll never accomplish what 45 did.
Right, yeah, that's true.
45 has become president. Y'all can try to lock him up. Y'all can't take it away.
Wait a minute. Speaking of that, what's up with Melania? Like
who?
Melania. Why did you call her Melania?
Melania, like she's been quiet.
Melania don't have no time. Look, Melania's living her best good life. Okay, Melania is well taken care of. Melania is well taken care of.
Melania does. Look, first of all, even when she's off, she doesn't. She's. I think she's a dignified woman.
Oh yes, she is.
She does not want to be in the political.
We've seen her.
Life.
We've seen her titties though.
She looks good with her outfits.
We've seen her titties.
Okay, she still looks good. Whatever. He's seen them too. That's why he probably married her. But
we've seen the first lady's titties.
She doesn't need to do anything. She doesn't want that front roll, so to speak.
But she hasn't been.
I love Melania. Her titties.
What about what about the moderators? What did we think?
Megyn Kelly.
Oh, Megyn is fantastic. Megyn, we love you.
I love Megyn. I watch EJ as well. The EJ there. Elizabeth Vargas. She does well. You know.
Who are those people? I just know Megyn.
Elizabeth Vargas has been around for a while. She's a little bit more liberal to the left.
Saying that.
Megyn Kelly.
Anything about Melania.
EJ is a writer. I don't like EJ's voice. It's kind of annoying, but she does ask good questions. And I think I actually look at her as a Megyn protege.
Shelly knows all the things, but we know Megyn.
Yeah.
I thought EJ and Elizabeth Vargas too. Elizabeth Vargas used to be on daytime TV as well, and she does some of the crime shows.
Yeah,
I don't know any of these.
I thought
we
they
know
were
Megyn.
white people. I thought they was the best debate as far as moderators.
I do too.
So I like the questions they asked. They
I didn't like their
they
questions.
Asked the tough questions. You know,
y'all like them. Y'all like Megyn and all of them.
But I didn't like their question. I didn't like their question. I think their questions were very biased. Though.
No, well, I don't know about bias, but even Megyn was talking about it on her show that they purposefully, their goal was to make the questions not so much of the stuff again that they can have like what should you do and they answer like whatever pat answers. They wanted to delve deeper into the substance, and their questions were very strategic, and they wanted them to debate amongst each other.
They did. They certainly
gave them the
but I didn't like. I felt like Megyn and the rest of them, whoever they are. I just know Megyn. Sorry, guys. But I feel like they were really trying to make their mark, which is fine.
Who?
I don't feel like it made a difference.
Who's the third person?
Like meaning, I feel like their questions were very leading. It was like long and and they were trying to make better questions than the last.
Their questions were not long. A good question gives you a little bit of context with the main idea and then the question, or however you order it. That is a good question.
But you
That's
can also
why they were
lead
able
with
to
the
debate
case
amongst each other.
Yeah, but you can also lead with the question. I know, like a lot of times they were talking to young Vivek, and they were saying, "Yeah, you felt about like blah, 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 and they give him the whole position and then give him the question. And I kind of feel like that's a little lame, but that's just just me.
I thought they were kind of trying to give them questions where they couldn't kind of get out of it. So they kind of talked about what they actually said or what they did in the past.
But I don't feel like that's the role of the moderator.
Yes, it is. As
like, I feel like
let them
lie. Let them, honestly,
it's not,
a moderator is to moderate, agreed. Like, if they're going to lie, it's up to the American people to say. It wasn't so much
about letting them lie. The question, like you said, it was so that they just couldn't be boxed into, well, yes, or this is what I said before, repeat. No, they had to answer the question outside of yes or no, but they had to bring some of their own thought processes.
Yeah, but a lot of times they just said no. Sorry, I didn't.
No, they had some debate moments on here.
Well,
and then you let the debate go.
Vivek is going to do that anyway.
What did you guys think was left out? Were there any questions or issues you felt should have been targeted a little bit more?
You know what? I actually have to go back and watch it again because we were here, having our moments too. So I need to go back and watch it again to answer that, clearly. But I would have liked to have heard more because I didn't hear when you said DeSantis answered the question about the border. So I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
but so I don't know. But the questions that I was able to hear pretty well, they did seem to cover a breadth of topics for them, a breadth of issues. So I think that was overall good. I have to go back and watch it again.
I don't know what they could have asked or said about it, but they didn't cover abortion. They didn't say anything about pro-life and an abortion topic or anything about that.
I would have liked to hear them talk about the fact that, like, why are you here? Like, you're down in the poll. Like, why are you here? I mean, seriously, that's a real question because as Vivek pointed out, and he was so boss moved to say, we shouldn't be having these debates. Like, why are you here if you believe that you're down? And if the front runner is Donald Trump, like, what are you going to do differently? Because I honestly seem like a bunch of copycats. Like Biden for second place, like bidding for second place. And honestly, you need to give respect where respect is due.
Meaning what, Crystal?
Meaning, like, they bought up all of the policies that Trump enforced. Like, seriously, they were bidding for second place.
What do you mean give respect to, what do you mean? This is the presidential debate. This is what happens.
Exactly.
So the only person who really brought up Trump was Christie.
And he didn't even bring him up. He put him up. Faked. So no, what I'm saying, he faked kind of attacked him.
We know that Trump is the elephant not in the room. We get that.
Exactly.
So it's not to their benefit as the other three outside of Christie to keep bringing him up. They were talking about their own policies.
They weren't talking about their own policies. They were literally bringing up policies that Trump had already did. And they didn't even try to hide it. They said, remain in Mexico.
Well, we do have to recognize that they are all. I mean, one thing we've been blessed to have is, at least I can say, I mean, I don't agree with a lot of them as people, but they are pretty conservative.
Yeah.
We do have a pretty conservative
I would agree.
group of candidates. So, generally they're going to all kind of talk about the same thing.
Yeah. And this is the process. They have to go through the process. It's like when you're hiring for a position and you know who you want to be the candidate or whatever. You still got to go through the process.
I'm kind of over them. I wanted them to strike the debate. I wanted them to say
that's irrational.
That's not right. But to your point, KJ, they're all conservatives. I think they actually represent, I would say, more or less, they do represent some of the differences among the conservative side too.
Like what?
First of all, Nikki Haley is more of a neocon. Vivek is more of the America First. Ron I think he's still trying to feel his way.
Ron.
I'm just saying he would represent more of the establishment. Christie, I don't know, but they represent a lot of the differences on the conservative side. Not so much left and right, but they represent what's going on in the Republican Party now.
What, confusion?
If you want to call it that.
They are Brandy. Wanna be down.
Of course.
Well, one thing I felt like was missing was the economy. I didn't hear as much about the economy, about kitchen table topics that I think.
Well, they were talking about that, and again, I gotta hear it. I'm gonna listen to it again and watch it again.
I think mentioned it.
Or Ron, one of them did. Yes, they did about putting food on the table. So I need to hear that again too.
And I think that's fair. I don't like when people attacked Trump on the spending.
Oh my God, Crystal!
I knew you were gonna do that.
Why do you want to fight me? No, seriously. Seriously, they keep talking about.
Look, where your honey at? You need a honey for her.
I need a MAGA hoodie, okay? Let me tell you, they want to attack Trump, but honestly, none of them know what it's like when those doors close. And I think that you have to spend money. You ever heard that term? You have to spend money to get money.
And that's what they're doing.
No, but what I'm saying is, I think that he did that the first 4 years, and then he had a plan for that next 4 years. That I'm telling you,
I'm gonna need you to get out of Trump's ass for a little bit. Just get out of Trump's ass for a little bit and see reality.
MAGA baby.
Trump didn't know.
That's why they be talking about MAGA people. This is the epitome of a MAGA crazy ass person.
God bless that man. I want some of Ivanka's shoes.
Oh well.
All right.
Ivanka Trump does have a good line. Wait,
Ain't she
Ivanka,
fly, though?
No, I'm talking about Ivanka.
Y'all, did y'all see her walking out of court when they were calling her names and she just stood there like a boss?
Oh, Crystal.
Ivanka is the bomb.
Right.
What is that?
Mackenzie 14.
What will you do if Trump is convicted? That's what I said we need to talk about.
Write him in. Donald J. Trump.
Right.
It's Jay?
Yeah, Jefferson. It's Jefferson.
Write him in, sis. Write him in.
All right.
What?
All right. Well, we
need
are
to talk
at
about
the
that as a
end
party.
of our
Oh, no.
time.
Mr.
Thank
Fraser,
you
so
so
let's
much,
see
guys, for watching. Final thoughts, ladies. We've seen this is the fourth debate. What do you think you'll see out of this? I know we picked winners or losers, but who goes up? Who goes down? Who stays the same? As we're entering, I think we're about a little over 40 days away from our
KJ, you all right?
From 6 weeks about the Iowa caucus, something like that. Yeah.
So, I mean, this is it. They've laid it all out on the line.
Michael Jackson.
Well, considering this might even be the last debate, period, right? At least for this cycle, it might be the last debate. I think Vivek is going to go up a little bit. Ron might go up. I don't think he's going to go down. Mm-hmm. Nikki, I think I don't know. I would be surprised if she goes up, or she may stay the same because she has these large donors now, these super PAC donors. I think Chris Christie is going to bail out.
Mm-hmm. All right. What about you, Steve?
I think the winner of this debate. What was the question again?
Well, who do you think is going? How's this debate going to affect the polls?
What
you think
poll?
anybody's going to rise? Oh.
Listen, the debate will not affect the stripper polls.
I agree.
Okay, because that's why black people love Trump, because everybody made money during Trump's. Okay, anyway.
Made money.
No, I don't think it's gonna affect it. Like, I mean, it was a good debate, but I don't think nothing's gonna come of it. It'll be the same. I don't think Nikki, she's done.
Bye, Nikki.
I don't think she's
Bye,
done.
Nikki.
I don't think she's
Let
done.
me ask you one
Pocahontas.
additional question. The final question of tonight is, I want to ask you guys about RFK. So we just recently saw that a huge Trump supporter, Angela Stanton, Angie Stanton, in Georgia, which is kind of a swing state, came out against Trump. I mean, she was
She
much
did not
for
come
Trump.
out against Trump. She came
Oh
out
my
for
gosh.
She came out for RFK is what I was saying. So how do you think he's going to affect the election?
I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say.
Do you think RFK is going to take votes away from Biden or Trump or both? And who's going to have the biggest effects from it?
So this is what I don't like about black folks. Black folks.
Why
do
you
you
talking about
keep
black
saying-
folks?
Because black folks are the ones saying, oh, they need to meet with us. And meet with you about what? You're American, sir. We all want the same things.
But is RFK going to take votes?
Is RFK? No. Like and honestly, like I didn't even like the whole black stuff that she had going on. She had rappers and like it's just foolishness. Okay, RFK, we're not buying it. It's weird that she wanted to do that when he's like pro-abortion, and isn't she anti-Angie's? I mean, like she's Angie's house or whatever, anti-abortion. Like I just think she getting her check. Sister girl, go ahead and do that.
Angie's house.
I'm
is
not
for
mad
people
at
who
it.
made wrong
But black
decisions.
folks, stop being toddlers. Nobody needs to sit down and figure out what your needs are. We know that you think that you need food stamps, and we know that you think that you need Section 8. Get a job.
Well, she
just
got
like
one now.
every other American, okay?
She got one now.
And so RFK is just feeding into the other bullshit. And so I'm not interested. 45 till I die.
All right, T.
Where did his trouble begin?
Living in America.
RFK is the spoiler. He may be the spoiler in this election.
We're talking about RFK. We're talking about Angie.
RFK Jr. Yes, RFK
the candidate.
Angie alone.
The candidate.
So who do you think?
Okay.
I mean, do you think he's gonna?
I was ready to talk about Angie.
Do you think he's gonna
Either
pull
one.
votes away from Trump or from Biden? And how will that?
So
impact
this is the
election?
thing, because I talk to people. I don't read, watch TV or what. I talk to actual people, and most people are saying they're independent anyway. So they're looking for someone who has a more medium in the road view between the Republicans or the conservatives and liberals, because they're not really checking for liberals at all. And the conservatives, they think that we're too radical. So they're looking for a savior like Jesus to come and save these people from their political sins and figure out who's going to be the president and who can meet them in the middle. So I think, yeah.
Jesus
I think he
has a way better voice than
I wasn't
RFK.
really, the point wasn't really about Jesus, but I'm saying, like,
right,
they're looking
right
for a
about that.
savior.
You're right about that. His voice, ooh.
Like
Can't
Barry
get
White.
over it.
Like
I
Barry
can't
White.
move on.
Y'all don't
Like
know
Barry
what
White.
Jesus' voice was like?
It didn't sound like
It probably sound like Vivek's. I'm
sound like a gargoyle.
Jesus' voice sound like Vivek.
You're right. You're right. I
Don't
mean,
strike
that
a
voice
Lord.
is something. I don't know how he's going to do in debate.
I can't move
Don't strike a
on.
Lord.
Yeah.
You
You're
can't
right.
what?
I can't move on.
I tried to listen to him on.
From his gargoyle voice,
Yeah,
I can't move
tried
on.
to listen to him his interview on Rogan, and my God, I couldn't finish it. I mean, oh my Lord, I couldn't finish it.
I couldn't move on.
Yeah,
I want y'all to
it's
know
bad.
these. Never mind.
Rico, Angela
Never
has
mind.
been a fool since she started.
No,
She's a
she's
complete
not a
fool.
fool.
I'm with you when you're right.
Angela
not
is
a
not a fool.
fool.
She's gangster. She is
That's
a
why
hustler.
she's a fool.
No, she's a hustler. She wants
she's
a
ratchet.
job.
She's a grift. She's a
not
grift.
There you go.
Okay, maybe
She
a
wants
grift,
job.
but she's not a
But,
fool.
let me attempt to answer the question.
Yes.
So, RFK Jr., I do think, I think if he gets more publicity, more press time, he
More
does
moisturizing in
he
the-
does have the potential to take some votes from both. I think he'll take more from Biden, but he still. But I think he still can take some from Trump.
We don't even know what's up with Trump. Like, why are we even
We don't
talking?
really know what's up with RFK.
Get
Like,
on
we
a
don't know
jet.
what's up with Trump. Like, if he's going to be convicted. Like, I mean,
Well,
like,
that's
it's a
true.
lot.
I mean,
Get on
it's
a
a lot
jet.
going on.
Get
with
on
Trump.
a jet, sir. Don't fool with these fools.
He's not
Don't
going to
fool
hear
with.
you.
Get on a jet. Take your children. Take Melania.
Children.
And them beautiful boobies.
What were you saying?
Get on a jet.
I don't even know. I don't know. But I just think he could take votes from both, maybe more with Biden. I'm saying Trump if he's a nominee. It looks like he will be. But that's it. I mean, if he gets more press time, I don't know what Angie Stanton is doing. Again, I can support her to support anybody she wants as an American.
Right.
I think she's, like you said, grifting. I'm calling it hustling. She needed a job. She needed a check. I ain't mad at her necessarily. I just
ain't
want
mad
her
at
to,
you,
But
I
don't
want her
bring
to
us- don't bring us
explain-
with your
No. I want her to
Agreed.
explain. I don't think she has that much pull with so many voters that people
doesn't.
going to right.
But
I don't think that.
But
I think she
don't pull the black
Right.
people. We
And
need to
that's
us.
the great
And the
part.
reparations.
Exactly.
And the reparations.
That's the
Like, I
grifting
don't
part.
want nothing from y'all.
That's the grifting part. That's
mean,
the grifting part.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
give
I agree. I think. I think we should be kind of worried though
About who? About her?
About RFK. I do think we should be worried because what's going to happen once we get past this primary season, and let's say if it goes how it looks like it's going to go, it's going to be Trump is the nominee. All eyes will then be on Trump,
Right.
and then RFK is going to get more publicity, I believe, because he will be actually a main. It's going to
Right.
be him and Biden.
Well,
So-
I have no crystal ball. I like hard balls, but anyway.
Trump, get on your jet.
Two of them.
Sir, get on your jet.
Anyway,
Big T is winning.
Take you and your...
my prediction that
I got it. Let's go again.
They so
Shelly.
nasty. They so
that
nasty.
Biden is going to be out. I really believe that Gavin Newsom is going to slide in.
You on a roll, girl.
That's so nasty, y'all. Gavin is
so natural.
slippery, slidey self. He's sliding into his wife's best friend. That's what he's sliding into.
Oh my God.
Sliding into
I
his
heard
wife's
the fact when I said
best
it.
friend.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's true.
Sneaky, slimy son of a. Ugh.
Oh my God!
All right, so we are at the end of our time tonight.
Thanks
you
for
guys.
hanging with us. We
You know what?
y'all.
I think we're the winners of this debate.
I agree.
We had an awesome. This is us, y'all, all the time.
SoCo, Southern Comfort.
Oh no.
No, yes.
We don't have to name them.
Okay.
Just know that we have a good time together.
Okay.
I mean, like, look at all these Christians on this channel.
No.
SoCo, just cool. So cool.
We are so thankful for you guys watching. Thank you for sitting with us and hanging out with us tonight. We will be back next Wednesday. We'll have a show for you next Wednesday. Put my piece in the right place. So please check us out here on Pop and Politics YouTube. Again, until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.
Good night, everybody.